and the secondary button.
Susan. Hello, Glidus.
It's going.
It's
Wonderful.
going. Hi.
Hello, Mr. Swift.
How are you?
I'm doing just fucking fantastically. Why do I swear in the first 15 seconds?
We are already demonetized.
Susan, no. Susan, stop. Leave me alone.
Take it back.
We are coming to you live from the universe. It's a wonderful day here in the universe.
The weather's fine.
It's nice of you to swing on by the universe for once.
Yeah, well, I was on a different plane of reality lately. I was in a meditation retreat in the astral plane, and now I'm ready to come back and talk about Westeros again.
Did you go there?
Yeah, I was in a meditation retreat in Westeros, which was a bad idea because it's very noisy there, and sanitation has not yet been invented.
That episode of The Simpsons when Homer's in a sensory deprivation tank, and but you're in like a horse and cart being dragged through the Riverlands.
Yeah. Is that the one where Simpson goes into the 3D world?
No, that's a different Simpson.
Oh, is this the ayahuasca fox
No,
trip?
that's another psychedelic Simpson. Homer he's done everything, man.
Why is it always Homer? I feel like Lisa Simpson would have
I think she has had some psychedelic experiences.
Has she? Yeah.
That 8-year-old.
Has Bart ever tripped in The Simpsons, canonically?
Chat. Does Bart get down?
Does Bart party? I feel like Marge definitely does not. That's one of the unfair things about The Simpsons.
I get the feeling that she would have in high school.
Yeah, I can see that.
Once.
Yeah.
And then never again.
And then settled down.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi. Let's talk about dragons.
Dragons. Do you like dragons? You've been gone for so long that no one... I mean, you've done some tweets.
I've tweeted. I quote.
I have been known to tweet. But you've never appeared in video form to expound on your opinions about the Dragon show.
Yeah, well, look, the time has come. I've devised my opinions, and I'm about to drop them like a brick.
Go on then.
Like the bricks that landed on Cersei's head in season 8.
Oh, shall I make a clearing for you?
Yeah.
God, how silly was that? That when Tyrion showed up, let's not.
Yeah, we're not here to talk about the bad dragon show. We're here to talk about the good dragon show because
I cannot let you say the words "bad dragon" and just let that slide past.
Slide past.
Oh no!
Phrasing, Glidus. We were trying not to be demonetized. We now live in a world where there is a good dragon show called House of the Dragon.
How crazy is that? It still hasn't sank in yet.
It hasn't yet sunk.
Because for a while there, for a good 5 years, the only dragon show was
Yeah, it went from to
and now it's
Yeah, no, we have a genuinely good dragon show, which is sad for me because I started doing content about the dragon show by the time it was already getting bad.
Me too.
So neither of us got to experience
it was a new world.
The halcyon days of making content about a dragon show that is good.
Yeah.
So it's so wonderful that we've gotten to do that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Condell.
Mr. Condell, Mr. Miguel Sapochnik, Mr. George.
Thank you, Mr. George.
Yeah, no, I quite like House of the Dragon. So today we're going to talk about the characters in House of the Dragon and what we think they did, and if we think they're good people or bad people, and whether or not we'd like to have lunch with them.
If that is one of the criteria, I'm completely happy to roll with having lunch with them. We should definitely integrate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to broadly discuss each character.
This is not going to be a well-structured discussion.
No. Don't expect structure. But we're going to talk about as many characters as we can. And it's going to be fun.
Hopefully.
Hopefully it's going to be fun. Would you like to start?
Do you mean begin by that?
Let's pick a character.
Okay. Wouldn't it be funny to start with someone completely?
So
I see what you're doing.
The
there.
thing about Carl Corey,
who appears in 2 episodes.
oh boy. How about Viserys is the king? He goes first.
Spoilers.
What are we? Spoilers. Viserys is king. Is he a good guy? What does Viserys do?
What
in
is
House
his
of the Dragon?
deal?
What is Viserys's deal?
I think we should just make clear at this point, spoilers going forward for. I mean, we can probably restrain ourselves from speaking about things that haven't aired yet, right?
Yeah, I think that it's possible that we might mention some stuff from the book that's in the future, but we'll warn you if we do that. I think 99% of the time we will not spoil future episodes. We will only be talking about House of the Dragon Season 1.
Yeah.
I think that's the plan.
Okay, well, so that out of the way, Viserys is like the main structural pole of the season, isn't he? Wouldn't you say? Like, it all revolves around his actions, his inactions, and ultimately the fallout following his death.
Yeah, the entire cause for the conflicts in this show is Viserys's existence and then non-existence.
And lack thereof. Skill issue, Viserys.
And I like the theme that he was the wrong guy for the job the whole time. I like the idea that he just was not prepared, didn't particularly want it, wasn't really equipped.
He was a very vibes-based king.
He was a vibes-based king, and as it turns out, vibes alone are not enough.
You've almost got a Tywin Lannister quote there about how vibes alone cannot govern.
And yet Viserys tried.
Yeah. Yeah, he could have like turned it into a lesson for Tommen. You know, oh, if you want to use just vibes, look at Viserys.
Yeah, doesn't he say, oh yes, Baelor was a devout king, Maegor was a strong king, and
Oris
yet he
the
failed.
Third, a guy I just made up.
Oris. Do you think he was testing Tommen?
I kind of think that sometimes, like when Tyrion makes shit up in the later seasons, he's like kind of just seeing if anyone knows what he's talking about.
To clarify, there is a moment I think in season 5 where Tywin like teaches Tommen about how to be.
Tywin's
a good
dead
king.
in season 5. Season 4.
That's an excellent point. It's an excellent point. It would be difficult for him to say. So in
Well, if
season
anyone was
4,
going to lecture someone from beyond the grave,
it would be Tywin Lannister. Because Tywin tells Tommen about what a good king is and historical kings, and Tywin mentions a king, Oris the Third, who does not exist
never existed
in any of the lore. Which I think is just... I think Tywin would just habitually gaslight people around him by just inventing it. Can you... Like, I can imagine Tywin doing that in, like, a small council. Like, oh,
Yeah.
Grand Maester Pycelle, don't you remember the decree?
Oh, yes, of course, Lord Tywin.
Pycelle would not question it.
He'd play along.
He'd play along.
Anyway, Viserys. So you're saying, like, the idea that Viserys was never the right dude for it, and that, you know, it should have been that other chick, the one with the hair
And the dragon.
and the dress, most importantly.
The dress. And the dragon. Like, I think it's kind of important that was he the first Targaryen king who did not have a dragon?
You've stolen a point from one of my upcoming videos.
Oh, oops.
No, you're right. He is.
Yeah, because like the whole Targaryen strength and magic comes from dragons, and so it's so interesting that Viserys is the guy who had the most powerful dragon in the world
And it died.
for 5 minutes and then died.
And then with it died the power and stability of the Targaryen dynasty.
Yeah.
You could almost say that Targaryen power, it's not just tied to dragons, it's tied to Balerion.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Because Balerion made the Seven Kingdoms, and then when he died, it started to fall apart. That's something, isn't it? Have I done an analysis?
We did an analysis.
Woo! Pop the champagne.
Hey, we're done. Go home. No, I think that you could, if you want to get a little bit kooky with it, you could speculate that Aegon's soul exists in Balerion because, like, you know, many people.
That's a yummy thing to say, Mr. X.
Should I talk? Is that your future video?
No, you're fine. Keep going.
So, like, there's a lot
Don't
of
stop.
there's a lot of similarities between like dragon rider connections among the Targaryens and Stark warg skin changer connections. And like, it's interesting that, you know, with this whole can Targaryens control dragons, what is the nature of the bond that's been questioned in House of the Dragon? Like, we can speculate maybe the souls of the Targaryens could be connected to their dragons in the same way that, you know, Starks and skin changers are connected to their animals. And when a skin changer dies, their soul goes into their animal. So maybe something similar can happen with Targaryens. And I like the idea that, you know, like, maybe part of why Vhagar killed Arax and Luke in the finale episode is that, you know, Vhagar has a lot of mileage. Vhagar is hundreds of years old. Vhagar may have the souls of, like, angry, evil Queen Visenya inside of him. And, you know, maybe that's why Vhagar went beyond Aemon's orders in the finale episode.
Could very well be that, yeah.
Because that's something that some people don't realize is that Visenya, Queen Visenya, Aegon's sister wife, was, like, not a great person.
Oh, everyone has good in them.
Yeah. Well,
she was made of light and dark in parts that you may not describe as equal.
And that's a whole other bone I have to pick with George, because George keeps saying that, oh, you know, everyone's both good and evil. Like the Rogue Prince book says, oh, Daemon was made of good and evil in equal parts. He's a hero and a villain.
Yeah,
Daemon is
George,
way more
George
evil.
himself goes on about this in interviews.
Yeah,
but no, Daemon, he's pretty much just a bad dude.
Yeah. I think that if Daemon in Hot D was played by anyone other than Doctor Who, everyone would see how horrible Daemon is.
But Matt Smith is just so goddamn sexy.
He is.
That, like, he gets a pass. I
He's
was
a
going to say
Time Lord.
charismatic, but who are we kidding here? No, but he is. And yeah, I think you're right about that. But I think what George is getting at in terms of his heroism is his loyalty.
Yeah.
Because he does anything to protect his family.
I mean, he still chokes his wife.
Depending on who he thinks his family is.
I mean, he's pretty consistent with... I mean, his family is Viserys and Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
And, you know, his direct Targaryen bloodline. Well, one of the things that I liked about Hot D was that they emphasized this idea that Daemon is kind of like a scholar of Valyrian history, and he has internalized the ideals of Valyria in terms of, like, we value fire, we value power, like, it's like a Valyrian supremacy, Valyrian superiority idea that I think that he justifies his violence and cruelty to others by believing that as a Valyrian he's better than others and he deserves to rule.
Yeah, so there's a line in episode 6 when Daemon and Laena are talking about home, because they're living in Pentos and Laena wants their children to grow up on Driftmark. And Daemon says, we have no home. Yeah. And I think that Daemon's, as you say, like, scholarly relationship with Valyria is, like, intended to mirror Viserys's scholarly relationship with Valyria. Yeah. But whereas Viserys's is more, like, bookish and warhammery, Daemon's more into LARPing the Valyrian.
Yeah, with Viserys, it's like academic, but with Daemon, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah, although Viserys does, like, do his darndest to get two of his grandchildren, no, a daughter and a grandson. You know, he's just, like, every opportunity he sees to solve a problem through incest, he's pretty much jumping on it. Except for the one time in episode 3 when Otto's like, yo, you should marry your daughter to my grandson. And he's like, that's a baby. Yes, Viserys.
It was the one time that incest actually could have solved problems as opposed to creating them. I
think that just kicks the can further down the line, because Rhaenyra is like 16 years older than Aegon. And when the lady in a marriage is that much older than the man in a marriage, I think it's not that conducive to producing a stable line of heirs. Like, it's not a complete knockout, but it's not fantastic.
Yeah, but I mean, they could still have, Daemon's descendants as backup heirs. Like,
But the whole problem with the succession crisis is the concept of backup heirs.
yeah.
Like, because Rhaenyra is the heir, right? And then Viserys has 4 more kids. 4, apparently.
Yeah, Daeron.
Is Daeron on the chart?
Yeah.
What's the morality of Daeron in House of the Dragon?
Well, his dragon is blue, which means he's a good
He's
guy.
got to be a good guy.
Daeron is the 4th child of Viserys and Alicent, who does exist in Hot D canon, but has not appeared on screen and has never been mentioned.
They just... Oh no, I was going to say it. They kind of forgot.
They kind of forgot.
It is strange to me that they couldn't find a way to mention him once. He's on the opening credits scene.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like it's already been said endlessly that opening sequence is bad. It just is confusing.
I don't hate it. I get what they're doing. I think they did it fine. It's just not anywhere near as inspiring as the Game of Thrones intro.
They have an opportunity to change it in season 2.
They do. I actually think that I'd put like 15% odds that they do.
I hope they do. But yeah, I really enjoy that dichotomy with like Daemon and Viserys, how, Daemon looks at Valyria and thinks, yeah, let's bring that back. Let's be dragon riding conquistadors again. Let's like reclaim that mantle. Let's like bring back polygamy and incest and all that
like
shit.
His reaction to problems Viserys faces is be the dragon.
Yeah, whereas Viserys, he looks at the dragon and he goes, oh, that's scary. I don't want to ride Balerion.
That's not good.
I don't want to be fire and blood. I just want to be a dad and a husband.
Be a goofy dad with my little models.
Yeah, I just want to play 40k.
Be a vibes-based king. I don't want to cut tongues out, but people keep saying mean things about my daughter.
And then they continue that theme by joining Daemon to Rhaenyra, because like they've talked in interviews about how Daemon and Rhaenyra is humming with the fires of old Targaryenism in the same way that Daemon does. And Daemon and Rhaenyra, like, they both have that old school fire and blood, and like when they join together in marriage, that like cements that, and it puts Rhaenyra on a scary path, and we see that in the finale when Daemon's trying to start war and Rhaenyra's trying to keep peace. And it's like, if what is Rhaenyra's nature? Can she be peaceful, or can she only destroy it? Just like Daenerys.
Well, we saw in episode 2 that her response to the issue of Daemon rising up and capturing Dragonstone and being a bit of a dick to the crown was, I know, I'll fly on my dragon there and scare him.
True. Yeah, which is fine when you have like the biggest dragon and the biggest army. Like if you rule by force, that works for as long as you have the biggest force.
But as we know, that sort of thing tends to fluctuate. Valyria was the biggest force unquestionably for a very long time, and then very suddenly it wasn't.
Yeah. And that's because of the nature of power, which is something that George is always banging on about in one way or another, which is that, magic is a sword without a hilt, and
prophecy is a chick that'll bite your dick or something.
and the Iron Throne itself will kill you, like Maegor.
Yeah.
Like the physical embodiment of power itself will cut you to pieces. And, that's why Viserys cuts himself on the throne, and that progresses to his disease, and it's power destroys. That's why it's so dangerous for the Targaryens to wield power in the way that they do.
Very normal.
Very normal family. Very good and fine and normal. So Viserys did Viserys kill his wife, Glytus?
Oh, God. Why?
Let's do an easy question.
Why did you do this?
Did he kill his wife?
I have said that I have used those terms. Look, it's a very complicated issue, isn't it?
It is.
Do you think we're going to capture that complication in a YouTube live stream? Is this the place for nuance?
So the situation was that Emma was giving birth, and the Maester Melos said that the birth is all messed up, and Emma is going to die. And we can try to cut the baby Balon out of Emma, and maybe that'll save Balon, or we can do nothing, and Emma will die, and Balon will die. And Viserys decided to cut Emma open, and she died, but then the baby died as well.
Okay. Picture this. You have lung cancer. It's very bad. You're going to die.
But it's not the good kind of lung cancer?
No.
Shit.
They got the bad one.
Oh, no.
They installed the dodgy one.
Just my luck.
Shonky traders came in and installed the bad lung cancer. And let's say that for some magical some dickish wizard no, let's not involve a wizard, just like the universe has said that, you know, if I shoot you in the face 4 times, this kid over here might live maybe live longer. And then I'm like, okay, and I shoot you in the face
me
4 times.
My face?
Yes.
Oh, 4 times.
Hey man, that's what the universe said.
Jesus.
Okay. And then the kid dies anyway.
Yeah.
Did I kill you?
I think you killed me, yeah.
Viserys killed Emma.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that analogy to have been to go down super well.
Yeah. It's, yeah. I don't know. I don't think... I mean, I think what was wrong with that situation was that Emma was not consulted about her opinion.
Oh, right. What if I asked you, hey, do you want to kill you?
Yeah, if I said, yeah, Glidus, please shoot me 4 times in the face, and then you did, that would be groovy, obviously.
Yeah, cool. Everyone consents. Good times had by all. You don't have to live with lung cancer. Not saying that people who have lung cancer would have a better time if they were shot 4 times in the face. That's for them to decide. But, yeah.
But in interviews and stuff, they talked about how Viserys' key motivation throughout his whole arc had a lot to do with his guilt for the death of Emma.
Yeah, I think that if you don't attribute her death to him, which is kind of what killing is, it's a bit more complicated than that. But if you don't do that, then like he doesn't really have an emotional core. Like it's bookended by his love for Emma. That's all he thinks about. When Rhaenyra leaves at the end of episode 6, she goes to live on Dragonstone. Viserys is left with nothing of Emma anymore, and he just like weeps over her ring, which is the last thing that he has of her.
Yeah.
And then the last things he says obviously are, was it "No more, my love"? And then he fucking dies.
Yeah, that's a really good point that I didn't realize, which is that when, specifically Rhaenyra leaving for Dragonstone, it being a huge moment for Viserys.
Well, yeah, when they come back, it's clear to see that he has no one in his camp. It's just Otto and Alicent ruling.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, like there is a connection between Alicent and Viserys
Of course.
that's real. And, you know, like there is like a... You know, Alicent is manipulative of Viserys in some ways. But also, like, you know, he's like this elderly man who's starting to lose his marbles. Like, he calls Alicent Emma at one point. Like, Viserys was cognitively impaired.
That was just him trolling. I can't believe you all fell for that.
He was gaslighting like Tywin.
Gotcha.
He should have called her Oros the Third. I would have got her.
Bessie. What happened to your tits, Bessie?
And that's the thing, like we can blame Viserys for like not acting and sorting out the succession, but like, yeah, his mind was impaired towards the end. And
it did very much appear as though they were drugging him to make him less able of doing anything about it.
Yeah, yeah. Which is like, you know, like when Daemon in the finale says, "Oh, Alicent murdered Viserys."
That's
like
such a wild accusation.
It's a wild accusation, but it could be grounded in Daemon's suspicion that Alicent was deliberately drugging Viserys with the milk of the poppy to make him weak and to prevent him from like loudly declaring Rhaenyra the heir and making him pliable, and you know,
which is a pretty rational thing to assume on his behalf.
Yeah. One criticism I have of House of the Dragon overall is that they lean a lot on ambiguity.
Criticism? But Dragon Show good.
Dragon Show good! Like there's a lot of things that they just sort of leave ambiguous in a way that's almost kind of cowardly.
I
Like
mean,
they don't.
in that regard, it's still like leagues more solid and concrete than the book is.
Yeah, I mean, the book is a fucking like it back of a cereal box. The amount of text that's in this chapter, like it's literally like what, like 20 pages that's been turned into House of the Dragon season 1. Not 20, like 40. It's not many.
Season 1.
Season 1 is basically just chapter 12.
Yeah.
Which is something like 40 pages. So, I mean, of course, they've got to add more detail. I feel like, I mean, stuff like, I think what got me with the ambiguity, and I think this was just a failure to execute that scene, but like specifically with Daemon killing Rhea Royce, that was one of the low points of the season to me. Because like, it was so fucking weird the way Daemon like approaches Rhea and then she rears up and then the horse falls over mysteriously and then Rhea... her back is hurt, so it's like, was that an accident? And then she's like, you're a pansy, kill me.
You
so
can't
it's like,
come properly.
You can't come good, so therefore you should kill me with a rock. And it's like, I'm just like, what is this? Like, what are they telling us? Like, what is
couldn't
Daemon's...
they have been more straightforward about this?
Yes. Like, I get that they're trying to create a bit of ambiguity, but I feel like there's a lot of situations in this show that they just left very open-ended to the point where it's like, what is even happening? What's this even about? What are we meant to take from this?
Yeah, and something about those ambiguous moments is that like the audience has plenty of ways to fill those gaps, right? And well, that's what ambiguity is the audience like looking for ways to plug holes. And it's like you have to consider whether or not that hole was worth leaving in the first place. I think about this when it comes to Kristen Cole killing Joffrey Lonmouth.
Yeah.
And it's like I can think of reasons why this is gonna work out. I, an audience member who's actively thinking about the narrative, I'm going through my mind, oh yeah, he could blah, 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 blah. You've all heard the coping before. But at the end of the day, it's like, why leave that ambiguous? What's the point of doing that?
Yeah, specifically the ambiguity of why did Kristen kill Joffrey Lonmouth in that moment? Why was Kristen allowed to get away with murdering Joffrey Lonmouth? What were the circumstances? Because like, we just could not see what led up to that attack. Like there was a knife at one point. How was this story explained to court? I mean, Joffrey Lonmouth is like, not publicly acknowledged as the boyfriend, but publicly acknowledged as like a close friend and confidant of Laenor Velaryon, the husband of the heir to the throne.
The heir to the most powerful man in the world.
The son of the richest, most powerful, proudest man in the world, Corlys Velaryon.
He just killed Jaime Lannister's best friend.
Yeah. Yeah, you think you'd get away with that? And it's like, yeah, like we can imagine lots of ways that might happen, but
why should we have to?
We shouldn't have to. All they needed to do, in my eyes, was have a moment where, like, just one shot where immediately after killing Joffrey Lonmouth, Kristen leaves the hall, and a few other of the Kingsguard step forward as though to arrest Kristen, and then Alicent just like holds up a hand to indicate to the Kristen, no dialogue, but just to indicate to the Kingsguard to just say, no, we're letting Kristen exit the hall right now, and I will go talk to him.
Not only does that like plug the hole without leaving anything up to the audience, it also like shows something about what Alicent has done in this episode.
Exactly.
Who she's become from that conversation with Otto she had earlier and with Larys. She's now empowered and she knows that, well, she thinks she has to use her power to make her own way at court. But they didn't do that. And then in the next episode, Laenor literally walks past Kristen and is just like, what's up? How you going, dude?
Yeah, I think that generally the time skips were done well. But I think specifically this time skip between episode 5 and episode 6, the big time skip, from like Millie Alcock to Emma Darcy and all the recasts and stuff, we totally missed out on like the Rhaenyra Harwin relationship, which is so interesting. I mean,
what they did show us of it was so good.
It was so good. And we missed out on so much with Harwin. Like we were robbed with Harwin because Harwin, Harwin Breakbones. Like there's this wonderful sequence where Kristen beats the crap out of Harwin Breakbones at a tournament, and he's beaten so bad that they call him Broken Bones. Which is like, that's so cool, and they just didn't do it.
Why not do that? Is that the same tournament that he kills Joffrey at?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is another thing that, like, you know, killing Joffrey Lonmouth at a wedding in just a random attack in cold blood is insane. Whereas in the books, Joffrey Lonmouth is killed by Kristen in a tournament, in a melee. So it actually kind of makes a lot more...
It's very plausibly deniable.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that does happen. People do die in melees. So it's more plausible that, you know, that would happen. And he would get away with it.
Should we move someone around on the alignment chart?
Yeah, so, I mean... so in theory, we're talking about Viserys right now. I think that Viserys marrying Alicent out of desire for a teenager in a way that he knew would create political complications is a bad thing to do.
Yep. It's selfish and it's not very well thought through, and he knew that it would create horrible consequences going forward.
Yeah, it was a selfish act for Viserys to marry Alicent, and he acknowledges that to Rhaenyra. And yeah, what's the worst thing that Viserys does?
Probably kill Emma.
Yeah.
If you asked him, that's what he'd say.
Yeah. And I mean, with the whole killing Emma thing, it's not just about deciding to do the C-section. It's about believing...
structuring her life around producing heirs.
Yeah. Because he had the dream that his son with Emma would be the king, and so he kept getting Emma pregnant, even though Emma was saying that this is bad for my health, and knowing the risks, and, you know...
Interesting that when Rhaegar is faced with the same issue concerning his wife Elia, he chooses to find another wife before Elia dies.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. There are a lot of...
Is it? It was just off the cuff.
Yeah, no, it's... Yeah, I think that's a really good point. That both Viserys and Rhaegar were trying to get their wives pregnant to fulfill a prophecy because they believed that their son would be the king, if not the savior of the world. Because, of course, that's one of the biggest changes from the books to the show, is that they made Viserys a dreamer who knew about the prophecy and the White Walkers and stuff. And
it might not be a change. Like, that could be true in the book.
Yeah.
But it's like they make it visible in the show.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean George Martin, the author of the books, told Ryan Condal about told Ryan Condal that Aegon had the dream about the White Walkers, so it does kind of fit with George's headcanon. But George, they're not in the books, George. Your headcanon doesn't count if you haven't published it in books.
Yeah.
George.
You can just say it to Ryan, and then he'll change his mind in a couple years' time.
Exactly.
We love you, George.
We love you, George. We'd love you more if you wrote faster. I think Viserys is basically a decent guy who makes some critically bad mistakes.
Yeah. But not thinking things through doesn't make you evil. Just makes you kind of a bit of a doofus.
Yeah. Is there a category on the alignment chart for a bit of a doofus? Dimension.
We need to learn Blender, add a third axis to this chart, and then just make it doofus and Machiavelli at the other end.
The doofus, non-doofus spectrum.
That's it.
Yeah. So he's on the sort of good end. Is he lawful or is he chaotic?
I would say he does indulge in chaos time to time.
I mean, going against the convention of only male heirs and choosing Rhaenyra is a bit chaotic.
Yep, and going against political sense and marrying Alicent instead of Laena is a bit chaotic.
Yeah, he defied common wisdom.
And you know what? Even when it comes to like rule of law, he doesn't give too much of a shit about treason against his own name.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, his treatment of Daemon, like his tolerance of Daemon's chaos is chaotic.
I suppose it is, but also that does kind of like this is every time we get into
we don't need
the
to go
nitty-gritty of what this chart means.
Yeah, we don't need to go into
it's like we unearth it 1,000 years from now. What did they mean by this?
Yeah, it's just something Gary Gygax made up, isn't it?
God bless his soul.
I'm happy with Viserys here. He's sort of lightly in the chaotic good quadrant.
And I'm sure all of chat agrees with us.
Yeah. Would you like to talk about Rhaenyra?
Which one was she again?
I think she was one of the blonde ones, but I don't remember which blonde one. They're all blonde ones.
Oh,
Gladys.
she's those two blonde ones.
She's two blonde ones. Yeah.
Oh, those are the same character?
The casting's pretty good in it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. The switching the actors to age them up, yeah, it was pretty damn good. Millie Alcock's nose is like, they're different, but that's like the main difference I noticed.
Welcome to the Millie Alcock's Nose podcast.
Nose review.
Nose. Part 5.
Fuck. Been making that series for 5 years and I'm on part 5.
Don't look back. If I look back, I am lost.
Yeah. No, wonderfully cast. Yeah. Both of them, Olivia Cook and Emily Carey as well.
I loved Millie Alcock's performance as Rhaenyra.
Me too. You're not special.
Shit. So it sort of opens with her being like, I don't want to be a baby factory.
Yeah.
And wanting to fuck her uncle. I think there's a bit of that. Or wanting to fuck her best friend Alicent, because there is like in interviews they've talked about it. They've said in interviews that there is a sort of deliberate romantic undertone between Rhaenyra and Alicent, and Millie
Didn't notice.
and Millie and Emma talked about just that being a thing.
I'm pretty sure that the actors are in love with each other as is. Like just from the interviews, that's the impression I got.
Yeah, for sure. So seeing that intimacy adds to the drama and pain when their relationship breaks down.
I have
later.
to say that's maybe the best change from book to show is giving these two an actual relationship.
Yeah, because in the books, Alicent is much older, and there's one line in the book that says that Rhaenyra was like fond of her stepmother Alicent,
cordial with each other.
Yeah,
oh, great. I'm cordial with my great aunt when I see her at Christmas. It's like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? But no, they want to like girl bone each other.
Yeah, which adds a nice bit of drama when things change. And it's so formative when Emma dies, and that,
Oh, she's so fucking good in this scene.
Look at that. She's an actor. Amazing.
She's capable of acting. Isn't that just so incredible?
And that's so important because, this makes her never want to become her mother. She doesn't want to die on the childbirth bed like Emma does. So that's so relevant when she's giving birth in the finale and giving birth in episode 6.
You'd have to think that death is on her mind whenever she gives birth.
Well, that was a moment in the finale episode when Rhaenyra told Jace, while Rhaenyra's going into labor, she tells Jace, "You are now my heir. Remember that. You are my heir, to whatever extent that means." And I think she says that because Rhaenyra knows that she might die giving birth. And so she needs Jace to know, hey, you are in charge if I don't get up again.
Yeah, and she says that. I think it came off to me as in opposition to Daemon, who would clearly seize power if he could as soon as anything happened to Rhaenyra. And he does as soon as she's incapacitated due to her birth.
Yeah.
Daemon's like, all right, lads, let's go. Doing a war.
The missus is out. Let's go on a campaign. Yeah, no, well, yeah, that's a great point because, there's a great line when Rhaenyra, Jace says, "Oh, where's Daemon?" And Rhaenyra says, "Oh, gone to madness, gone to start his war, I don't know." Which is really scary, This is before Daemon even assaults Rhaenyra by choking her. This is Rhaenyra already acknowledging that Daemon is a loose cannon. Yeah. She is not in control of him. No one is in control of him.
Then, anything can happen. He wanted to just go and just burn them all. Fuck it. Let's go.
Yeah, we could have their heads on spikes by the time the fucking moon turns.
It's like when at the start of World War One, a lot of leading figures were like, "Yep, quick war, in and out by Christmas."
Yeah.
And this is like, here we are 4 years later, half of Europe is dead.
We back in time for tea and crumpets with the Kaiser's head on a pike. So I quite liked that moment of fear between Rhaenyra and Daemon, and that's one of like the big conflicts, like going into season 2, is like what the hell is Rhaenyra and Daemon's relationship going to be? You know, and like politically, because Daemon is a power onto himself, especially with Caraxes. So it's like, how are they going to get along? Can they get along?
Oh, did you want me to say something?
If you'd like.
I thought it was yeah, what you said.
What did you think of Rhaenyra's party time adventure in Flea Bottom with Daemon?
The episode 4 adventures.
Yeah.
After she escapes through the you ready? Secret tunnel through the castle. It's gonna get tired someday.
You just woke up all the people who use this podcast to sleep.
This weekly podcast.
This weekly podcast. Yeah. The weeks are very long in on the Mayan calendar, so it's fine.
Are they?
Oh, very long.
Yeah.
I made that up.
Okay. I know that they did have very long units of time. Anyway.
Do you think Rhaenyra is a monster for rooting Kristen?
Nah. I mean, it's not morally unambiguously great that she did that. I mean, in my video on that episode, I have like a lengthy conversation with myself about whether this is okay or not. And I got to the point where it's like, if you're asking this many questions about whether it's okay to bone someone, it's not.
Yeah. If it's this hard to figure out if it's okay, it's not entirely okay.
Yeah, like if you're thinking so hard about whether or not you should be able to say this word, just don't say it.
It's usually easier not to say it.
Yeah. The word, of course, being cum blasters.
As long as you don't say it with a hard C. So, because Rhaenyra not only had sex with this Kingsguard knight whose entire life is at risk by breaking his oath of celibacy by rooting a princess, she not only did that, but then she lied to her best friend Alicent.
In front of a weirwood.
On
her mother's name.
Kind of a big deal to swear an oath like that in this society.
You done fucked up, Rhaenyra. And this is where it all falls apart for them. I mean, it was already rocky, but like once Alicent finds out that this was a lie, it's like they come very close to repairing their relationship, but it seems impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, I did really like in episode 9 when Rhaenyra and Alicent had that attempt at sort of reconciling, and it seemed like maybe everything would be okay. And I feel like everything would be okay if, instead of Alicent sending Otto to bring the peace terms to Dragonstone, Alicent should have gone herself.
That could have worked, yes.
If Alicent and Rhaenyra just talked to each other, and if Alicent said, hey Rhaenyra, the reason why I'm supporting Aegon is because Viserys told me that Aegon should be the heir as he was dying.
He said Aegon's dream.
And then Rhaenyra...
goes, oh no, he was talking about our great. And then everyone's like, oh, I get it. It was a classic third act misunderstanding.
One of the classic blunders has been committed.
But no, she sends Otto, and that's kind of weird as well, because
they
know that Daemon's there, and they know that Daemon has a history of wanting to murder Otto. So, I don't know, I thought that was strange. In the book, it's all while, and that makes a lot more sense, I think.
It is extremely...
And it's way more fun, because he pisses his pants.
Yeah, if we don't get to see a maester wet himself, what are we even paying our HBO Max subscription for?
You're paying an HBO Max subscription?
Of course.
You idiot.
I need to see damp maesters.
You fool.
I think it's super suspicious that Otto came to Dragonstone in the finale, especially when they were so heavily paralleling it with the with the episode 2 confrontation. Because like in episode 2, they find out that Daemon is practically rebelling against the throne on Dragonstone. He says he's going to marry Mysaria. He says he's the heir to the throne. And so
Basically
Viserys
just waving his dick around.
just waving his dick around,
Yeah.
hoping his brother will notice, which never works.
Notice me!
Never works.
No!
And I'm imagining Aaron Dampere doing that, because wasn't he a famous urinator?
Yeah, he's a famous dick swinger.
Yeah, maybe that's where that came from. Anyway, so so Viserys stands up and says, "I will go to Dragonstone and I will settle this issue with Daemon." And then what happens? Otto stands up and says, "No,
Your
Viserys,
Grace, it's too dangerous."
it's too dangerous. I will diffuse this delicate situation."
And like clearly he doesn't want to actually diffuse it. He benefits from there being this situation.
Otto went to Dragonstone in episode 2 to prevent Daemon and Viserys reconciling.
Yeah. And then Rhaenyra foils his plans. Oh, those meddling kids and their goofy dog.
Those meddling teenage blondes with their dragons.
Ruh-roh!
And so that makes me think, well, maybe the same thing is happening in episode 10. Maybe Otto just finagled his way into being the person to deliver the peace offer.
Alicent says, "I'll go. Rhaenyra and I still have something together. We felt it in episode 8 when they like committed to repairing this relationship." And Otto's like, "No, my dear, it's too dangerous. Because I made it too dangerous.
Rhaenyra might kill your children, therefore we must kill Rhaenyra's children."
Don't you see?"
Otto makes the mistake of assuming that everyone in the world is as bloodthirsty as he is as brutal and ruthless as he is. Like, Otto's actions would be justifiable if everyone was as ruthless as he is. But
Could you
they're not.
imagine if the whole world was just Resifans going around?
Little baby Resifans in the strollers and the...
But they've all still got his voice.
I mean, it would sound good.
Oh, yeah.
It would sound
I think
good.
he's a great performer in this as well.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of pretty much all of the actors.
Apart from...
asterisk when we arrive to the
Yeah, we'll arrive
obvious.
at the asterisk.
Even the like child actors. Leo Ashton, I think the kid's name is. Played Aemond.
Yeah.
Was super cool, and Ty Tennant's a lot of fun.
I love Titan.
He's got the void face down so well.
The void face.
You know what I mean.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I love that his first appearance on network television was Buttocks first. And I thought that he did his role great.
He's gonna paint the streets.
Yeah. So Otto's a bit of a dick, isn't he? But we're talking about Rhaenyra, aren't we?
That wasn't his first appearance. He was in the scene in the dragon pit before that.
Titanic.
Yeah.
Was he? I thought he was...
No, the dragon pit scene's first.
Okay.
I think. Anyway, morality. What does it mean? Ultswift X, is truth real?
It's a myth.
Oh. You heard it here first, folks.
Rhaenyra... I think Rhaenyra starts out as someone who makes a lot of mistakes because she's a teenage girl, so of course she makes a lot of mistakes. And then she grows into someone who is a bit more responsible. Although she still has all those bastard children with Harwin, which is not a responsible thing to do.
I mean, she had to have heirs one way or another, and the one way wasn't working.
Have heirs with a blonde.
But Harwin Strong is, you have to admit, very attractive.
He's a sex god, but you need to find a blonde sex god, Rhaenyra, because when you have...
the only one around is Daemon.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, she could have just hooked up with Daemon.
Viserys wouldn't have had it.
Well, yeah, but
Daemon
Viserys would not have approved of hooking up with Harwin either.
He was living in Pentos for those 10 years.
If Rhaenyra texted Daemon you up, he would be on the first dragon out from Pentos the next morning.
Lena would come with him.
I mean, that is one of the other things that we were robbed of in Hot D, is the relationship, the friendship between Lena and Rhaenyra in the books. Like, they're like riding dragons around Driftmark, and like Jason, Luke befriend like Baela and Rhaena, and that's why they betrothed them. And then like there's this whole ongoing relationship, and there's even a hint for the fanfickers out there. There's even a hint that Lena and Rhaenyra may have had some kind of romantic connection.
Rolled with that.
Well, we didn't get to see it on Hot D. You know, we didn't
they
get to
share
see that
like
friendship.
2 lines together in episode 5, and that's it.
Yeah, that's we needed an extra episode in between the time jump.
Yeah. But then, like, they ordered a 10-episode season. Could they have been like, can we just have an 11th one, please? Or, like, how else would you deal with that? Do you take time? Just remove episode 9 and do a different episode instead.
Yeah, episode 9 is the worst, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it's as bad as, like, you know, the internet vitriol machine would make it out to be, which, you know, I've struggled with having participated in during season 8. But, you know, when I did it was justified, obviously.
When I do it, it's right.
Fine.
Yeah.
It's the morally virtuous thing to do. But when strangers on the internet do it, good lord, they've gone crazy. No, I get the complaints. But obviously you do need an episode in King's Landing after Viserys dies, because Aegon's coronation, up until the point of contention, is a very good scene.
I think Aegon's coronation scene was fantastic. Until Rhaenys and Meleys did their thing.
Do the vertical Kool-Aid man.
The vertical Kool-Aid man.
Thank you. Oh, I should have held on to that for a video. See, this is why live streaming is such a problem, is because I've got all these hilarious one-liners pent up in here.
Well, you say something in an offhand way, and you're like, damn, if I actually thought about that and scripted that, I could have delivered that in an even better way, you know? Yeah.
I'll still use it, don't worry.
No one is going to put you in YouTube jail for using the same joke twice.
Chat, when I release that video 6 weeks, years from now, put me in jail when I use that line again. Comments are good for the algorithm.
Mayan calendar weeks. I think that's what George is writing.
Fucking Stitch back. Oh my god.
Yeah. I think the problem, like, with episode 9 is the entire premise of the episode, which is whether Kristen or Eric capture Prince Aegon first.
Yeah, but it's a proxy for Alicent and Otto.
Yeah, Alicent. Yeah, but even that I don't get. Like, Alicent or Otto capturing Aegon first.
They're pretty much aligned on every issue. It's just like, are we gonna kill Rhaenyra or not? That's basically what it comes down to.
Just that small detail.
Yeah, it's just a teeny tiny
the
little...
family. And then it's even weirder because then Otto is the one to deliver the peace offering that he didn't want to do, that like, Alicent wanted him to do.
Is she now subservient? Is he subservient to her now just because Eric got to Aegon first?
Yeah, what? And then the peace terms that Otto delivers are different to what Alicent told him we're going to do. Because in episode 9, Alicent says to Otto, Rhaenyra must not return. As though her plan is to allow Rhaenyra exile, to leave Westeros. Whereas
go do what Daemon did for the previous 10
go to
years.
Pentos, right?
Go be fucking cool elsewhere.
Whereas what Otto actually ended up delivering was saying, hey, be the Princess of Dragonstone. So it's like that whole fight, that whole thriller running around wearing silly hats, that whole fucking kerfuffle, the outcome doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, but the silly hats, it was a lot of fun.
The hats are amazing. And the hoods, the giant puffy hoods.
Aemon's no good hood.
My goodness. So Rhaenyra.
Oh, right, yeah. You know, in episode 4, her little escapade through Flea Bottom, when she's running away from the vendor who she steals food from and then eventually bumps into Harwin Strong.
Yeah.
In that little sequence, she runs through a group of dudes with silly hats.
Yeah, the weird mime people.
What the fuck's going on there? I just want to ask you about the silly hat people.
Yeah, I don't think we can pull up a picture, but there is this weird group of like mimes or like street performers who look really weird, and I don't know what they're about. There's some extras who were elevated to starring roles.
Yeah, no, they just came to the set like that.
They just wandered into. Where did they film those shots again? Which city?
Is it still Dubrovnik? I don't think it is.
No, I don't know. I don't know.
In Spain somewhere.
I think they just wandered in front of the camera.
Yeah, and the director was like, "This is gold. Keep rolling."
There's going to be an HBO spin-off show about those bastards any minute.
Oh god,
they're going to appear in the 9 Voyages.
They're gonna be John's like council north of the wall.
Secret Targaryens.
Rhaenyra, morality. she's chaotic
She's chaotic
for
yeah.
sure. She good or evil? Does she speak much about like what would be a good world? I think she speaks about when I'm queen, I'll change how that shit all works. When Rhaenys tells her about second wave feminism.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, because one of the things that I liked about Hot D is that, Alicent, for all of Alicent's manipulations, Alicent, more than any other character, says occasionally what's good for the realm.
Yeah.
And very few other characters are asking that.
I mean, Otto says that he does.
Yeah. Yeah, which sort of makes us skeptical of Alicent a little bit, doesn't it? Like, because, Alicent is so influenced by Otto. Is basically Otto's puppet for the first half of the show. So when Alicent says what's good for the realm, does she really mean what's good for the realm, or is she just parroting her father's version of the realm, which is good for House Hightower?
What's
you know what
good
I mean?
for the old town?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that Rhaenyra hooking up with Harwin and having all those dark-haired kids, which totally destabilizes the succession, is a wildly irresponsible, stupid thing to do.
Yeah.
3 of them.
Yeah. As Alicent says, 1 is like... What's the wording? I know that 3 is an insult, but like 1's a less severe term. I should be a writer.
Yeah, I know the line you mean. But then again, Rhaenyra's constantly trying to reconcile with Alicent, and Alicent kept rejecting Rhaenyra's attempts to make peace.
Yes. In this scene that you've highlighted here, Rhaenyra's like, hey, let's marry Jace to Helena, which, like, from everyone else's point of view is like, oh, that's a dope idea. That is that's one of the best ideas.
That's the stuff.
Put that at the top of the idea list. And Alicent's like, no, because in her mind, Jace is just a bastard. He's an illegitimate heir, and she's asking her to hand her only daughter off to him, and it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would I do that?
But it's like an Alicent's like pride, uncompromising thing, she's been listening to her father too much. Yeah.
I just really like how understandable both of them are, basically throughout the whole show.
Yeah. Yeah, even like the villains in this story, you can kind of see where they're coming from. Even Otto,
There are people... See, he's so reasonable and so understandable that there are people who are going to be mad at you for calling Otto a villain.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there certainly will be, because there's people who get mad if you call Tywin fucking Lannister a villain. I'm always amazed at the
it's a
passion.
Weird world out there.
The Tywin defenders out there, the Tywin stands. My God.
Have you encountered the Maegor stands?
The Maegor stands. I have not.
Do you think I'm joking? Tell me right off the bat, do you think I'm joking?
I'm sure they exist. I wish you were joking, but I'm sure they exist.
They're a fun lot.
Do you think a guy with the epithet The Cruel might be a bad guy?
It's propaganda.
He was a zombie for the last year of his life.
So was Viserys.
I shouldn't be prejudiced against zombies.
Yeah, what do you have against zombies?
Because that's one of the crazy things. Maegor the Cruel, seemingly, like it's all very unclear. But Maegor seems to have died in a trial of 7 against the Faith Militant, and then was resurrected by his mother, Queen Visenya, and Tiana of the Tower using some black magic.
That is pretty cool.
It's extremely cool. It's extremely anime. Not good for the realm, very much. With all the killing he was doing.
I wonder if George is like that well informed on shonen, because he writes a lot of it.
He really does.
Yeah, like if he could write an arc of JoJo's and no one would notice.
I mean, look, he contributed to Elden Ring, so he might be a...
That's basically anime, yeah.
That's basically anime.
I still haven't played it.
I played the first hour of it.
I saw that. That
which
was
you can see
embarrassing,
on the...
yeah.
AltSwiftX Games YouTube channel.
Go to youtube.net/c/AltSwiftXGames.net
.biz.gov.
.nz.
Yeah, well, you should play Elden Ring.
I should.
If you play it for 2 hours, you will have played twice as much as I have.
Interesting. I like other FromSoft games. Rhaenyra's Morality. I want to play through every A Song of Ice and Fire game on stream, make a video about it. Do you think that's his video? Would you click on a video that said, I played all the fucking Dragon games?
Dragon game review. You know what that reminds me of is Brian David Gilbert.
Never heard of him.
Brian David Gilbert did.
I like how you just moved on from that. You know I'm fucking around.
I know. I'm not even going to pretend to believe that you don't know who Brian David Gilbert is.
I have the same birthday as him.
What?
Yeah, I think no, he's 2 years older than me. But yeah, same day.
I've never seen you both in the same room. Glidus walked into Brian David Gilbert. New theory. Because Brian David Gilbert did a book called I Read Every Halo Book and Became the Master Chief of Loneliness. And it's a masterpiece of YouTube videos.
Is that one of the Polygon videos?
Yeah. It's on Polygon.
Such a good series.
He read like 50 novels about the video game franchise Halo. Most of them were terrible, but he persisted and he gave like a book report on every Halo book. And like the emotional journey that he went on to, oh, my God, truly an inspiration and a warning to us all.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. When I see a high quality video that a YouTuber has clearly suffered for, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, YouTube sadism. You really want to just...
That's it. Like when you watch H-Bomber Guy go on about one MP3 file for 2 hours, and it's like, why was this the greatest thing I've ever seen? You have to think about how to recreate that, how to rebottle that lightning.
What's that H-Bomber video where like the video starts in like 2019 and he's looking all and then like
he's bald and gaunt and
then it cuts to halfway through the pandemic and it looks like he's aged about 5 years in 6 months.
I think that was his War on Christmas video. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's the degree of masochism that we aspire to in video production.
Yeah, see, I announced this every Song of Ice and Fire games video like a year ago.
Did you?
Yeah, and I haven't streamed any of them yet.
Don't announce things until they're almost done.
I know. I shouldn't announce things until they are uploaded.
Yeah.
And all that is remaining to do is just press the public button.
Can you imagine having a backlog of videos?
There are people who do it.
There are YouTubers who have months worth of videos uploaded, ready to go, scheduled to be auto-released in the future. They don't even have to think about it.
Could you imagine?
My God.
You go on holiday and just there are videos coming out still. I'm good.
It's not for me.
I think it's more fun, more chaotic to just go, here's a video.
It is, yeah.
Because I did sit on one video once for like 2 weeks, and it was torturous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like holding a hot iron. It's like,
yeah.
I just want to...
And it almost feels like I can't move on to the next project until the last one is done, like out there.
Yeah. No, it's like an emotional cycle of like, you want the release of like putting the video out there.
Yeah, the brain worms starve for dopamine.
Yeah. Sounds very healthy, doesn't it?
Oh, everything about this profession is the healthiest.
No one has better mental health outcomes than YouTubers.
Thank you, Susan.
So Rhaenyra Targaryen.
Oh, right.
Should she have married Daemon?
When? You mean like at the beginning?
In episode 7.
You mean when they did get married?
When Rhaenyra married Daemon.
Was it morally good to fake Laenor's death, actually kill at least one person?
That was quite funny. How Rhaenyra and Daemon were like played as the heroes for letting Laenor go.
And he snaps a guy's neck.
Just some servant gets his head pulled off by Daemon.
He's made of light and dark in equal parts.
Oh, he's such a dickhead, Daemon.
But we love him. Look at him. Look at him go. Yeah. No, this wasn't morally a very scrupulous thing, especially like the grief inflicted upon Corlys and Rhaenys and the dude they killed.
Do you think we're going to see his family, Driftmark servant number 3 and his mourning widow in the next season?
There are characters from Driftmark who could, they can do whatever they want with.
No spoilers.
Oh.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess Rhaenyra's choice to help Laenor escape Westeros was a good thing, even though it hurt Corlys and Rhaenys. Like, because Laenor made it clear that that's what he wanted, was to like sail away.
Yeah.
And she was granting that wish.
It's what Kristen promised Rhaenyra he could give her in episode 5, and she manages to deliver it to Laenor and Carl.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's cute.
That is cute.
Cute little character thing there.
Kristen doesn't get anything cute.
No. Well, he already was cute to begin with, so he's got that going for him. And then he found the Fountain of Youth off screen.
That is the funniest thing about Hot D to me.
How long passes between episodes 1 and 10? Is it 20 something years?
It's like 28 years.
No, it can't be that long.
It's like 28
I
years.
think it's like
Great Council is 101.
Oh, from the very start of the show.
Well, yeah, sorry. Yeah. It's yeah.
That's 30 years then.
It's something like 20. It's 20 something years.
Yeah.
And Kristen has not aged a day. There are characters who were played by 3 different actors over the course of this time
Fabian
period.
Frankel doesn't even put on a wig.
They should have like grayed his hair in the last few episodes or something.
Yeah.
Like Lionel. They did such a great job of making Lionel look older.
Yeah. Even Lyman Beesbury. He looks older towards the end of the show.
Yeah.
And he already was old.
Yeah.
Old become older. It's incredible.
There are so many characters that they did a fantastic job of making
obviously.
them look older.
Even, I think Corlys looks older.
A little bit.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit disappointed that Corlys, because in the books Corlys is like 78.
Yeah.
And I love the like badass old man energy that Corlys has in the books. And I don't suppose we're going to get that in Hot D. Because like I like how they showed that he's like weakened by his fever, but I don't know. I would have liked it if they put a bit more like grey in his hair or something.
If he walks with a bit of a hunch, maybe, just make him feel older.
Yeah. I guess that would just really suck to try and act while trying to pretend to be old at the same time.
How old is Steve Toussaint?
I don't know.
He can't be that old.
Don't know. But yeah, it's hilarious that Kristen doesn't age.
Rhaenyra's morality. No, this was not a very good thing of her to do. I mean, it's strong politically, I guess, even though
Marrying Daemon.
Yeah, even though it alienates Rhaenys and Corlys.
Yeah, I think like marrying your uncle means that you're not marrying a different family. Like Rhaenyra could be forming a marriage alliance with another powerful house.
She married like Cregan Stark,
right? Fire and ice, man. I mean, what if Rhaenyra just married Aemond? He was an eligible bachelor
who had just claimed a nuke.
Yeah. That seems like a powerful ally to have that would completely diffuse the entire conflict instantly.
He is like 9 at this point, though.
Yeah, give him some time, but like that alliance, that marriage would solve the whole problem. And here's the thing: Aemond was saying, in contrast to Aegon, Aemond was someone who was interested in like strengthening the Valyrian bloodline. Aemond showed interest in Helena. Aemond is like cool with Targaryen incest. I reckon if Rhaenyra said, "Hey, Aemond, like, let's elope," she'd have a 50-50 chance. And if it worked, it would have prevented this entire conflict.
Shit.
Maybe. I mean, maybe Aegon still would have, like, Alicent and Aegon, or they could have declared the marriage illegitimate. But, like, there's a bunch of instances in the story when, like, people run off and do marriages. Like, Jaehaerys and Alysanne went and did a marriage without anyone's permission when they were children. And yet, ultimately, that marriage was still respected, and Jaehaerys and Alysanne were the strongest, most successful power couple in Westeros.
They did have to live in exile for, like, 3 years, but,
That worked out for them.
worked out incredibly for them.
I don't know. I'm just trying to say that there's a lot of people who Rhaenyra could have married that would have been a better idea than Daemon bloody Targaryen.
Yeah, well, he put the effort in. He groomed her first, so yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers of ick.
Do you think Daemon is a good person?
Controversial take, but maybe not. We'll get to Daemon.
Hopefully soon. I like how you put together these charts with like 40 characters. We've finished talking about one.
We might. I think we'll...
Quick fire round.
Quick fire round, yeah.
This person's good, this person's bad. That's how discussions work.
That's what the internet's for.
Welcome to Nuance.
I think it's pretty clear that Rhaenyra is more heroic than Alicent.
I want more elaboration on that.
Because Rhaenyra offered Alicent
I pick up what,
peace
yeah,
and tried to reconcile multiple times, and Alicent was less willing to compromise. Rhaenyra is very concerned about like preventing war in the finale, whereas Alicent...
We don't know what Alicent's thinking in the finale. We don't get to see her.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Alicent, to her credit, tries very hard to not
Yeah.
get Rhaenyra killed, so that's something. I mean, Alicent fights for Aegon to be king, knowing that Aegon is a rapist who has no interest in politics and would not be a suitable king. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, it is very obvious to literally everyone that Aegon will be a terrible king. Whereas with Rhaenyra, she kind of seems to embrace responsibility a bit. When we see her on Dragonstone towards the end of the season, she seems like a more capable and respectable leader.
Well, she's a grown-up.
Yeah.
Aegon's a teenager.
He's not a great teenager at that. I mean, like, it depends on what your metric for teenager is. Maybe by some metrics, he's like the ultimate teenager, but he's not a good person at that point in time, you could say.
Yeah, I think it's obvious that like gender. I mean, that's one of the whole
Gender.
It's because Rhaenyra is a woman that a lot of lords don't support her.
Well, she should have thought that one through.
Yeah, why'd you choose to be a woman, Rhaenyra?
Being a woman is a choice. Oh my god.
So it's obviously like to me it feels obvious that like Alicent is framed more as a villain. Like if only because I mean it's not
If you want to
Alicent's
talk about
fault.
framing, absolutely, yeah.
It's not Alicent's fault that her family is more villainous than. I mean, Rhaenyra's family is villainous as well because she married Daemon.
Yes. Maybe let's not talk about people's families when we're discussing their...
But the families matter because when they fight for power, they're fighting for the
like,
family's
whose power are we fighting
power.
for? Yeah.
Alicent is wrong partly because it's her horrible son Aegon that she's fighting for.
Right. And Rhaenyra is fighting for Daemon.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Rhaenyra would rule in her own right, at least in theory. You know, in theory, she would be able to be in control of Daemon. But yeah, that is part of why it's a bad idea that she married Daemon, because in practice, Daemon would wield a lot of power as king consort, and, you know, for all we know, might try to displace her entirely.
That does seem entirely possible.
Yeah. Daemon didn't just marry Rhaenyra for love, he married her for power as
Yeah,
well.
like when Viserys asks him, why do you want to marry Rhaenyra? Like, is it because you think she's a catch, or is it because you want my throne? He just laughs.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Like in that confrontation on the floor scene with Viserys and Daemon.
Ah, yes, the floor scene.
Daemon made it quite clear that it was about power and like Valyrian pride and legacy and yeah. And Rhaenyra was a kid at that point. So yeah, Daemon, not great.
No, he made sure that she was of age.
Yeah.
He even says, he turns to the camera and says, she is 18. and that makes it okay.
Oh, lordy.
Oh, jeezy kableezy.
Oh, lordy.
Chaotic, a bit good. Chaotic, kind of good.
Is Rhaenyra more good than Viserys? That's an interesting question.
Sorry.
You sounded like dying Viserys.
Dealing
then.
with something here. I'd say she's certainly more chaotic. Is she more good? Well, her actions, she does kill that dude so that she can marry Daemon.
I feel like Rhaenyra, like overall does more harm than good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the trouble with all these stories. Like, there are all these lords fighting for their own selfish power. Like, if they were in power, we could see what kind of ruler they were, you know. But
Yeah, and we'd see how similar they might all turn out. Rhaenyra, here's a hypothetical for you.
yeah,
If, when Aegon was born, Rhaenyra's like, oh, okay, cool. Male heir, I'm done. It's him, not my problem anymore. No war.
yeah.
Unless some wacky lords out there, someone's like, oh, I've married Rhaenyra, I have a claim on the throne,
Well,
then they try to do
The
something.
Valerions.
Yeah, that could. But I think it's less likely to lead to war if a woman chooses to roll over in terms of power. Yeah, that's all it would take. Just sacrifice your entire identity.
Yeah.
It's easy.
But I mean, obviously, like, it's not an easy thing to give all that up. But I mean, Rhaenyra could have gone east with Kristen Cole. Or hell, she could have gone east with Harwin. Like,
Or Daemon. Fuck it.
She could be living it up in Pentos, but instead she's decided to risk war by staying in Westeros. And of course, Aegon could do the same thing. I mean, Aegon tried to run away.
Although, let's more caveats. A third asterisk on this statement. Viserys told her the prophecy.
Yeah.
And like she has a pretty good reason to want to stick around because of that.
Well, although,
another asterisk.
if Rhaenyra just went up to Aegon and said, "Hey, you're the male heir, so you're going to be in charge. I'm going to get out of your hair, but before I leave, you should know
I've got some exposition for you." That
was a deep callback.
Thank you.
If Rhaenyra just told Aegon, like, hey, my dad told me about these, like, frosty skeletons that are going to cause a ruckus in about 300 years, would you, like, just be aware of that? I mean, I guess you could argue that, Rhaenyra would not trust Aegon to uphold that responsibility, because Aegon would not uphold that responsibility.
Because he's a dropkick.
So, you're right that the prophecy does sort of justify Rhaenyra's determination to get the throne.
But her motivations never come off as altruistic in that way.
Yeah.
Like, she's never just, I must secure the throne so as to ensure the safety of the world going forward. No, it's like, I should be queen.
Well, I mean, she kind of says that to Daemon in the finale.
That is true. And that's like the last stated motivation we get in the show. So, yeah.
And she was trying real hard to keep the peace in the finale. I think that they were framing Rhaenyra as a hero in the finale so that after Luke dies and she gets all angry, that there's going to be a dark turn. We
can have a cool, badass, very uncool.
Yeah.
Everyone's becoming murderous sort of vibe.
So I feel like she's good, but there's going to be some change in that department, is what it looks like based on her face at the end of the finale.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you would know that I think they did try to adapt the speech from the end from that chapter in Fire and Blood, where she scorns the Greens.
Oh yeah.
But I think apparently it was Matt Smith who said no, just like have her face. Just
the face worked.
Yep.
I think the face is better than the speech.
Speaking of Matt Smith, have you seen Morbius?
I have not. It is not Morbin time. I have not seen Morbius. Is that the one where he dances around with his shirt off? Is that the Morbius meme?
No, that's Doctor Who.
Really?
No, it's Morbius.
I missed that episode. I have not seen Morbius. Is Morbius it's a shit vampire film, isn't it? Is that what it is?
Something like that.
Is it a superhero Marvel, DC, Mega Blocks, Roblox, Fortnite?
Ooh.
Mountain Dew TM, is it one of those?
Minecraft, MLG, Rocket League. Yeah.
Daemon. Good guy?
Matt Smith in a wig. How could he not be a good guy? Matt Smith in like 10 different wigs.
There were a lot of wigs. None of them looked great. They all looked adequate.
They're fine. I mean, what does it mean for a wig to be exceptional?
Well, to look like it grew out of a human head
True.
and not came out of a weird factory. The first thing we see Damon do, I mean, first he like cuddles up to his niece in a uncomfortable way, and then he goes all police brutality all over Flea Bottom and just delights in mutilating people.
But is he a good guy?
This is 20 minutes into episode 1. And people are still shocked when Damon does bad things throughout the season.
Well, he's made of light and dark and equal. It's in the book.
I'm really looking forward to all these heroic good things that Damon's going to do, apparently, in the future. That's what George says. I'm really looking forward to all the great, heroic, selfless acts that Daemon Targaryen's going to do.
Oh, boy.
He shit talks Otto. Remember when Daemon insulted Otto's dead wife? This guy's not great.
But that was funny. You have to understand. It was funny.
The entire character of Daemon rests on Matt Smith's performance. Like, if it was anyone else...
Like, the redeemability of him. He could still be a, good, well-written character. But no one would be no one would think anything other than this guy is just the worst.
I think if he wasn't so charismatic, it would not be fun to watch, even. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, probably. Maybe there is an actor who could have done it, but we're just not thinking of it. But
and then 10 minutes later, he tripped the Hightower's son.
He's just a rascal.
That's not allowed.
Leave him alone.
And you know what else he did? He used a Valyrian steel sword in a melee.
Yeah, he looks so cool. I don't see what the problem is.
Valyrian steel is so unfair. You have a huge advantage.
And he's still lost.
Oh, you dickhead, Daemon.
Look
Using Valyrian steel.
Look at his fucking helmet.
You know his helmet is also Valyrian steel.
I did know that.
According to the official
the
guide.
armor is Valyrian steel?
That would be absurd.
Yeah.
That much Valyrian steel.
I mean, Euron.
Do you think that is Euron's Valyrian steel armor that Daemon is wearing right now?
If you can't disprove it, it's canon, so yeah. How would that have ended up in Valyria?
Confirmed. Well, he didn't go to Valyria. Euron didn't go to Valyria.
But he said he did.
Euron tells fibs.
What?
What do you think about the whole air for a day ruckus?
I think that's really interesting because we never hear Daemon say it. And though Otto does report, I've got 4 different sources on this, and they all say that it was a moment of jubilation. That could just be Otto mincing the truth a bit.
It would be extremely in character for Otto to say, "Oh, Daemon said this really insulting thing about you, Viserys," because Otto wants to divide Daemon and Viserys.
Yes. Yeah, it's one of those things where the show's done some ambiguity again, although I don't think it's in-your-face ambiguity. It's if you think about it for a little bit, Daemon could have just actually been toasting his dead nephew.
Yeah. And Daemon is someone who we've seen, he struggles to express his emotions sincerely.
So he could have done something that glib sincerely.
Yeah.
Well, well-intentioned.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be in character for Daemon to feel genuine sympathy and grief over Viserys' dead baby.
But then when Viserys is like, "You motherfucker, what did you do?" And Daemon doesn't deny it. So, but then again, he also doesn't deny having fuckled Rhaenyra, even though he actually didn't do that.
Yeah, Daemon repeatedly accepts blame for crimes he didn't commit because his whole bad boy identity. I mean, he's kind of like Jaime,
Yeah, I did that shit, and I'm gonna do something else.
Because that's his defense mechanism, is to be like, yeah, I'm a bad guy.
What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
And Viserys is like, "I'm gonna exile you again," and Daemon's like, "I'm just gonna come back."
It is actually hilarious. No, you know that Simpsons quote where Abe Simpson comes into the brothel and then 360s and comes back. Every time Daemon gets exiled from Westeros, Daemon just goes through the turnstile, does a loop-de-loop, and comes right back. Every time.
I thought of it more like Mo chucking Barney out. Of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pub,
yeah.
And then he walks back in through the back door.
Yeah, that is better. We're on a real Simpsons kick today.
Always. It's always on my mind. I have so many fucking Simpsons references slated for my upcoming video.
Any thought you have is like 3 degrees of separation away from a Simpsons reference.
If that.
Who do you think told Otto that Damon said F for a day? Yeah.
Massaria for sure.
So Massaria has been working for Otto behind Damon's back for years.
Yeah.
Why is she doing that, Gladys?
Shits and gigs?
Is this for her social justice platform? Her attempt to help the peasants of Flea Bottom?
By
undermining Damon to Otto?
Disenfranchising one prince and allowing Otto Hightower to further entrench himself as a power in King's Landing. Is that what Missaria, the White Worm, wants? Is that going to empower the peasants of King's Landing?
Is Massaria realizes that Damon can't give her the security that she wants, or won't give her the security that she wants.
I'm pretty sure he could if he really wanted to.
Yeah, Damon is just not all that interested in protecting Massaria the way she wants to be protected. So Massaria maybe just chooses, ingratiating herself with Otto as a kind of backup plan, an alternative way to have power and security. Plays both sides and hopes to use political influence on Otto to further her goals of like helping the kids in the slave pits and stuff. Maybe.
It really came out of nowhere, didn't it?
That I found that a bit bizarre. I found that a bit bizarre when Massaria sat Otto down and was like, I want to help the peasants.
I want to help the peasants. Is it rude? Is that rude? The voice is silly. Come on.
It's a silly voice. I just don't know what the voice is. Like, if I try to imitate Massaria's voice, I don't know if I'm imitating, like, an accent that human people have in some place.
You know what it reminded me of?
What?
Have you seen Weeble's stuff?
Yeah, I've seen Weeble stuff.
You like pear? It's like... that'll do.
Yeah, that'll do. Look, I don't know if what Massaria is doing is okay. I'm pretty sure that what Weeble Stuff was doing is not okay in the year of our Lord 2022. I think the air for a day thing is interesting too.
Is that where this started?
I think that's where this started.
Were you going anywhere with that, or did you just want my opinions on it?
I just want your opinions.
Yeah, cool. No, I'm pretty sure that Massaria told Otto that, and she did it to fuck with Damon.
Yeah. People do love fucking with Damon.
Oh, well, it does seem to be quite fun.
Yeah, it would be fun because he is just he's so fun to bully because he so obviously is infuriated by everything bad that has ever happened to him. How could you not fuck with Matt Smith? So then he goes off to Dragonstone, he does a little rebellion, big chaotic energy from Damon.
I wonder if he's a good guy.
I really...
He stole a dragon egg.
He stole a dragon egg.
For fuck's sake. He stole his dead nephew's dragon egg. And we're over here talking about his morality. It's like, this guy's the fucking devil.
Do you think he wore his puffy murder hoodie to sneak into the dragon pit?
Absolutely, he did. No, but he wore his Valyrian steel dragon wings helmet at the same time.
He wants to be caught. Do you think that... I love the sheer comedy of when Damon announces to the world that Massaria is pregnant with his child, and then Massaria finds out.
Sorry, what? I'm what now?
And Damon has to explain, oh yeah, I told everyone that you're pregnant with my baby, but you're not.
You will be soon, maybe, ? Can we fuck?
I love that was the line that Massaria drew. That's the point at which she stopped fucking with Damon, was when he loudly rebelled and claimed to have gotten her pregnant. Wild stuff. And then he hooked up with Corlys and went to the Stepstones because he was like, war's fun. I'm good at war. I can do war. Then he beat up that messenger, Adam. Just beat the crap out of that innocent soldier.
His name was Adam, wasn't it?
It was Adam.
Yeah.
And then he killed the crab feeder.
For fun.
And then all that turned out to be pointless because they just left the Stepstones undefended and then the Triarchy took it back.
Whoops.
Oopsie daisy. And then he took his niece on a trip to a sex club and tried to molest his niece.
Gave up at the last. He chickened out.
Which is another one of those like ambiguity things.
Yeah, what was going on here?
Because like it seems sort of like he was, I mean, based on the interviews and inside the episodes, they say that Damon was like not physically capable of having sex. But then it also says that, oh, well, he knew that it was immoral to have sex with Rhaenyra. Or it's just like he felt like he was no longer in control of the situation and control was more what he wanted.
Do you think writers should just shut up?
Yeah, do you think they should not play the inside the episode
Yeah.
afterwards? That might be better.
Because how could they not have learnt their lesson? How much less fun would the general public have made of season 8 if they didn't get the clip of Benioff saying that Dany kind of forgot about an enemy fleet?
Yeah, surely that clip haunts
Like,
Dan and Dave.
after that's happened, how can you then go, just stop doing them? Just stop.
I agree with you for the super fans. Like, I think that people like us don't necessarily benefit a whole lot from the inside the episode thing. But, like, I think House of the Dragon is a very confusing show to most casual viewers.
Yeah. Your mum and dad are going to have trouble keeping track of who's who.
Yeah. I think the inside the episode probably helps in a lot of cases. I don't know.
If only there was a family tree that they showed you at the start of every episode.
A really clear, well-labeled family tree. So then Daemon killed his wife with a rock.
He's a good guy.
And then Lena died. And, like, what is with this shot where
Ah, your mum died.
Lena has
Sucks to
just
be
died?
you.
Daemon walks away.
These fucking kids.
Where is Daemon's parenting of Baelor and Rhaena post episode 6?
Where is he going?
Where is he walking to?
Does he need to take a dump?
He's got an uncomfortable looking gator there with his. No,
His wife just died.
I guarantee that he's going off to ride Caraxes and finding some pirates to burn or something.
Yeah. It's how he processes his emotions.
Should we just put Daemon in the evil camp and be done with it?
Yes.
He's an evil person. He's a chaotic evil person.
Yeah. And we stan him. It's okay to stan chaotic evil people.
Yeah, I enjoy...
In fiction.
In fiction. We shouldn't need that. We shouldn't need that disclaimer, but apparently we do.
Never be too careful.
Yeah, chaotic evil. I got to agree with that.
And then we can move on to a fourth character.
Mm.
He's more chaotic and more evil than... yes, I see. I see what you're doing.
I think he belongs there. Would you like to talk about Alicent Hightower?
No. I mean, we kind of already did.
Yeah. She's quite lawful.
Yeah. Yes, she's like very much interested in keeping up with the codes that she was told would be the way the world works. And then when people break those codes, she gets fucking annoyed.
She does not compute.
Yeah, she's like, what the fuck's going on here? They said that Rhaenyra wouldn't be able to do that, and she's doing it.
She got like the loading screen on her forehead. Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't want to marry her children to bastards. She doesn't want to have to fight for the throne because Aegon's a male and, she's said all the right things and Rhaenyra gets to cheat and lie and...
And it's not fucking fair
it's
because
not
she
fair.
was married off to a gross old man.
Yeah.
And she did the baby factory thing and now she's, she's supposed to be the queen and people just keep trying to undermine her power and she has to take her shoes off for the creepy weirdo.
Yeah.
And it's just not okay.
Alicent has put up with so much bullshit and she has not gotten what was promised. Look, I mean, personally, like, she's still the queen.
Oh, yeah, she's an immensely powerful person.
You can still have a huge amount of political influence and a very cushy life.
See, Cersei. I mean, maybe not for the cushiness.
There absolutely are a lot of parallels between Cersei and Alicent.
Oh, what?
I don't want to blow your mind right now.
I mean, there's parallels between Cersei and both Rhaenyra and Alicent.
Yeah, there are.
If the three bastards didn't give it away. Thank you, George.
What's like the best thing that Alicent does? What's the worst thing that Alicent does?
Best thing Alicent does.
I think, like, obviously supporting Aegon, knowing that Aegon is horrible, that is a terrible idea.
And she supports Kristen after he publicly murders a gay man.
Yeah. Alicent protects Kristen, who is a monstrous murderer.
He's such a piece of shit.
They somehow made him more evil than he is in the books, I
Yeah,
think.
it's incredible. And they took away the coolest stuff he does.
Yeah.
Like the king making...
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of did Kristen dirty.
Yeah. I like Fabian Frankel. He seems like a great actor. He's a cool dude. And he's a very charismatic guy.
Have you seen the interviews with Fabian Frankel? He is so adorable. He's just
Yeah.
like, oh, I just tried my best. I don't really. Oh, I didn't
put
want
the
to.
armor on and I look so muscly.
Oh, I really tried not to hit myself in the balls with the Morning Star.
Like, oh, darling.
I hope everyone likes my performance.
Aww.
He's so sincere and
He's a
lovely.
sweet young man.
He is.
And he plays a complete piece of shit.
Which is great, isn't it?
It's kind of the opposite of Matt Smith. Damon
Matt-
Smith. Targaryen.
Matt Damon.
Oh, now that's a deep cut.
Alicent?
So we can agree she's certainly lawful.
She's certainly lawful.
What's the best thing she does?
She talks about the good of the realm. I feel like that counts for something.
Yeah.
What about like the situation when like Aegon rapes Diana and Alicent like sort of shows sympathy for her, but also intimidates her and like pays for her to be silenced.
Very interesting scene.
There's a lot of like emotional layers to that scene.
I wouldn't say that forcing a young girl to drink the abortion tea, which I don't know how it works out in show canon, but in book canon, can ruin your body. And also real life, because that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not unambiguously good. And also paying her to keep quiet about her son raping her.
And, that's a situation that she didn't create, and it, like, sucks that
yeah.
she has to clean up this situation. And there's kind of no, like what should she have done in that situation, Like, there's no good thing to do in the situation that Alicent is in the context of the world that she's in.
Imprison her son.
Yeah, right? What are they going to do? Like, hang the prince for his crimes?
I mean, that would be cool.
I would approve of
maybe
that,
not
but
hanging. Death sentences are complicated.
gelding and gone to the wall.
There you go. I mean, it's what would happen if he wasn't a prince.
If he's lucky.
Yeah. She's a good friend to Rhaenyra.
I mean, she
tries.
tries. She tries. Although even early on, like in the Sept, like they're talking about Viserys, and Alicent kept it secret from Rhaenyra that Alicent was having dates with... The king told her to
keep a secret.
Yeah, that's true. The king, Viserys, told Alicent not to tell Rhaenyra that Alicent and Viserys were doing lunch dates.
You're not telling my daughter that you look at my cool model, right?
What a shitty thing for Viserys to do.
Well, he knew what was happening.
That is a bad thing, the Viserys, because it wasn't just marrying Alicent. It was, it was almost like grooming Alicent in the same way that Daemon groomed.
Otto kind of like served her up on a platter for him, and he was like, yeah.
Viserys, it's a weakness. It's like a pathetic weakness to just go along with that path of least resistance.
Mega vulnerable when she first appeared to him.
That's true.
And that is not his fault, and it is Otto's fault. And that's the end of the conversation.
God, there really are layers to this shit.
Oh, it's so much harder to talk about a show that has actual complexity. Oh, can't we just go back to it?
Can you imagine having a conversation like this about anything that happened in Game of Thrones season 8 or 7?
I mean, I could, and it would be a good shit post.
Yeah, it would be a shit post, though. It wouldn't be like this. Yeah, okay. Yep, I think you make a good point that Alicent couldn't tell Rhaenyra the truth about her meetings because King Viserys and probably Otto told her not to tell. And so much Alicent is a product of Otto's control because Otto is like all Alicent had in a lot of ways. Like after, shit fell apart with Rhaenyra.
Her unnamed mother died.
Her unnamed mother.
I hate it when my unnamed mother dies.
It happens more often than you'd think.
Yeah, especially when you're a George R.R. Martin character.
Yeah, there is a list of all of the dead unnamed mothers in fridges on Tumblr blogs listed somewhere. And so it makes so much sense that Alicent would turn to Larys Strong.
Yeah, someone who poses like unimpeded advice, just counsel, friendship.
And Kristen. She really did choose like the worst possible people to be her best friends.
I've got my squad, let's go.
Could Alicent have chosen two people less fucking awful than those two? More fucking awful than those two. Kristen the murderer, Larys the murderer, arsonist, foot fetishist.
He really takes the cake.
Larys is the most evil character in the show, right?
At the moment, yeah.
I think he is. Because unlike Daemon...
I mean, he killed his family.
He killed his father and his brother.
Just when Alicent was like, I really wish my dad were around. And he's like, gotcha. I know exactly what you need.
He was on a hair trigger. He was just ready to go.
You could have asked him how the weather was. And he'd be like, yeah, kill my family.
Oh, is it a bit cold in here? Are you a bit chilly, Alicent? Oh, okay, I'll go start a fire to murder my parents. That'll warm you up, Alicent.
And she's like, what the fuck? That's probably the evilest thing. She didn't really do that. But it's interesting how, like, she's caught up in it.
Well, yeah, it's not Alicent's fault that Larys murdered Lionel and Harwin, but it is Alicent's fault that she continued to work with Larys after Larys did that.
But as you say, like, what other choice did she have?
And I think that, the implication is that Larys sort of feels that he has dirt on Alicent.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely to, like, hit her in his web.
But she made a choice. Like, she could have chosen to, like, hang Larys for murder and kinslaying, but instead she chose
have no allies
to keep and protect him in the same way that she chose to keep and protect Kristen after Kristen's murder of Joffrey Lonmouth. Alicent keeps forgiving these monsters knowingly.
Kristen, Aegon, Larys.
Yeah, Aegon as well. She constantly covers for these horrible, villainous people. Otto, yeah. So even if Alicent herself is morally possible, she protects monsters and empowers monsters. That's evil.
You just hate women.
You got me.
Yeah, but like, you kind of do have to keep in mind, like, what are her other options?
Well, I mean, Viserys... King
she
Viserys,
is married to the king.
Her husband, King Viserys.
True.
It is very difficult to get Viserys to do anything. But
imagine Alicent's like, you know what? My dad is kind of full of shit. Let's just, like, Aegon, don't be the king. Like, we all know you're not cut out for it.
Hey, Aegon, you know what? You'd make a great Kingsguard.
You would make a really good Prince of over there.
Hey, Aegon, I've been thinking about invading the Isle of Toads. Would you be into that?
Do you like toads, Aegon?
Yeah.
Your wife's into centipedes. We'll talk about the moral implications of Helena's millipede obsession.
It's going to be very difficult to judge Helena's morality, isn't it?
What do you mean? She's an angel. Unquestionably good person.
I think Alicent's a bad person. Like, she's not like fully in the evil she's not super evil, but like just by her...
Nah, she's more evil than, like, Catelyn Stark, man.
There are so many characters who get so much undeserved hate. And, there also is that small moment where she attacked Rhaenyra with a knife.
I guess that wasn't entirely poggers of her.
That was somewhat less than poggers.
That was unbased, Alicent.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a gamer moment.
And also, like, the whole thing when she's like, oh, Viserys said that Aegon should be the heir because of prophecy. Like, come on, she's hearing what she wants to hear.
I mean, her husband's rambling to her on his deathbed. she has no other like input on this. I think it's completely reasonable of her to read it the way she did. Like he's like, oh yeah, Aegon, King, yeah. Prophecy shit.
But like, surely Alicent knew that Viserys wanted Rhaenyra to be heir since episode 1.
Yeah.
Does she really believe he would suddenly
Like a
flip
change
on
of
a dime?
heart, deathbed confession.
Yeah, really?
I mean, when he brings up prophecy, kind of.
Well, yeah, that's a fair point. Because Alicent does know about Viserys' dreams. They have that fireside chat at the hunt.
And it was about Aegon.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Him having a crown.
Yeah.
And then they didn't find the white stag.
Yeah. All right. I think you make good points. I still think that she's like lightly evil, mostly because of how she uses Larys and Kristen. Yeah,
I mean, in the same way that Rhaenyra uses Daemon.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like Rhaenyra has not yet like. I mean, it's only like when Daemon chokes Rhaenyra that she's like, "Oh shit! Like, I've married a monster."
Yeah.
I mean, she probably should have realized it sooner.
I mean, he did kill his first wife, and then she was like, "We should snap that dude's neck to fake your husband's death."
Yeah. I mean, Rhaenyra doesn't know that Daemon killed Rhea. She must suspect.
Oh, come on.
Well, I mean...
It's Daemon!
Well, yeah, but she doesn't know. I mean...
And then at the wedding, when Jerry Royce is like, "You killed my cousin, and that's not cool," Daemon's like, "Yeah? Huh? What?"
She should have known. I think that Alicent is...
I'll allow you to put her like lightly evil and very lawful.
Yeah.
Even the lawful thing though, like her allyship with all these people is like pushing up against her boundaries, like the things she believes in.
It is shady.
Yeah.
The way that she uses Larys and stuff.
It's almost as though this sort of framework for analyzing characters isn't sufficient to capture complexities.
Oh, we are explicitly going against what the creators of this show have said about the characters. They've been very clear that this is all about grey characters and moral ambiguity.
This one's good.
Yeah, right. Which side of the line do they go on? But Otto's a piece of shit, isn't he?
You just put him off the chart, yeah.
Because Otto goes and wants to murder Rhaenyra and her entire family. Otto is manipulative of Alicent and of Viserys.
Mm-hmm. And the rest of the council, it would seem.
Yeah, and the rest of the council.
They seem to have a bit more agency in those decisions. Whereas, like, his manipulation of Viserys is just manipulation. Viserys kind of accuses him of killing his dad.
Interesting moment.
Yeah.
I've got notes.
It's like, was that actually what he was doing there?
Yeah, it was a weird moment. But yeah, I think that Viserys was accusing Otto of, like, poisoning Viserys' father, Balon the Brave, who died of a burst belly.
Appendicitis.
Yeah. Do you think he did it?
It could have, but it's, like, quite brazen.
How old was Otto then? Like 20 or something?
How old is he now?
Yeah, I don't know.
Impossible to say. Well, hang on. Alicent's 15, 16, 12, 2 at the start of episode... Well, during episode 1.
It never tells us Otto's age or birth year, so we don't know.
Yeah, true. And he has other kids, so you can't really use Alicent's age as a benchmark to say how old he is.
Yeah. 40 or 50 would make sense.
Yeah. So he was a young man when he became Hand of the King.
I mean, Otto is so much like Tywin, and this whole conversation reminds me of, like, remember what was like Tywin's early friendship with, like, Aerys?
Mm-hmm, when he was like 15.
Yeah, and they were like teenagers, and wasn't there some theory about them trying to murder fucking... Oh yeah, no, the theory that Tywin and Aerys did No. No, I was about to say that Tywin did Summerhold. That doesn't seem likely.
Oh man, but
That
if
doesn't
he
work
could
out.
pull that off, that's
If anyone could do it, it would be Tywin. Yeah, I feel like Otto's not a great guy. But I feel like Otto can justify what he's saying by, real politic and saying that there's going to be conflict. People are going to reject Rhaenyra. Aegon is the only choice that makes sense.
And if you ask why to any of those questions, the answer is because of the things I'm doing.
And he's not even entirely wrong, because, the
Yeah,
lords
of course, plenty
are...
of lords are going to be like, she's got boobs, we can't do this.
And the way it should work, in theory, with the Targaryens is that, a Targaryen king with a dragon should say, no, this is how it is. I'm laying down the law. This person is the heir.
But Viserys doesn't have a dragon.
But Viserys doesn't have a dragon.
Daemon has a dragon.
But people on either side of the conflict
and
do have dragons.
Otto's entire mission statement is to get Daemon as far away from Viserys as possible, because Daemon is Targaryen power. He has a big old dragon that can set things straight.
Yeah.
And Otto needs that to not be the case.
Yeah.
Because if Viserys has that available to him, then Rhaenyra is unquestionably the heir.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And that's why Otto would be so horrified by Rhaenyra's marriage to Daemon as well. Like he wants if any dragons have to exist, he wants them to be owned by his grandchildren.
That's like when Aemond claims Vhagar, he's just like over the moon.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my god, this kid. We don't see them interact much. Which is a shame.
Otto doesn't give a shit about his grandkids as people.
No, but that one rides a nuke.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's true. He should
Yippee-ki-yay.
suddenly become a lot more interested in Aemond at that point.
Hey, Aemond. Oh, it's nice to see you. It's good old Grampy Otto.
I feel like Otto's like one of the only people paying attention to who owns the nukes in this show. Like, that's one of the wild things, that like Laena just takes the most powerful weapon of war in the world, and everyone's just like, yeah, this is fine.
Huh, I guess she just did that. Huh. How did she do that?
Apparently there was like going to be a scene of Laena claiming Vhagar, but they decided not to do it because, there's also a scene of Aemond claiming Vhagar, so they didn't want to like double up.
Oh, but parallels. It would have been like 2 episodes apart, I guess.
Yeah. I do have questions. I mean, like, Laena showed interest in Vhagar when she was going on her date with Viserys. Yeah. And, they were talking about, the sailors in Driftmark hear Vhagar's song. So
Yeah, no, so she has an avenue to finding her, I guess.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense.
I wonder what Otto thinks of, like, the sea smoke situation. Like, should we have people... Quick, someone try to get that... Like, he would be terrified of the prospect of Rhaena claiming Vermithor or sea smoke, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, given that Otto was so aware of the value of Vhagar, he should also be aware of the value of Vermithor, Silverwing, and Sea Smoke and the rest.
Vermithor, who's like this rank 2 dragon in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, theoretically. I mean, maybe Otto should send a bunch of dragon assassins to go and kill him.
Oh, that'd be dope.
If only there was like a book in the Citadel called The Death of Dragons that Otto could read. If only.
When was that written?
In book 4... When was the book written? Yeah, well, we don't know.
Yeah, because what if it's after all this?
Do you think Otto wrote The Death of Dragons?
Oh my god.
Because in book 4 there is a book
Yeah.
that's mentioned that
it's restricted.
Jaqen Hagar seems to be trying to get in book 4.
He seems interested in a lot of things that are locked away in the Citadel.
He's a wide reader, Jaqen.
Yeah. Is Otto Hightower lawful or chaotic?
I mean, like, he keeps banging on about how the law is that the male is the heir.
And he says that he's trying to prevent war.
But he's so willing to bend his principles when it's convenient. Like, Otto is not one for signs and portents.
But
Oh,
the white stat. Oh, it kind of has to mean this, Viserys.
Otto changes his principles and he's like, no, actually, prophecy and portents are important because the white heart means that my grandson Aegon should be king. So he's willing to sort of flip on a dime. I mean, Otto also, originally said Rhaenyra should be heir.
Yeah, when it served his goal of getting Daemon away.
Yeah. So he does sort of torture his logic.
Oh, no, girl is heir, that's fine. Yeah, let's do that. Then, 2 years later...
So it's self-interested reasoning. I mean, what makes Otto interesting is his relationship with Hobart, his big brother, because this show talks so much about second sons and sibling relationships, and showing how Hobart was sort of overshadowing and pressuring Otto and saying we've got to make Aegon the heir, and it sort of makes us go, oh, what is the relationship here? What is the emotional motivations for Otto's behavior?
It's kind of the same as Daemon.
Very similar to Daemon.
Way.
Yeah. Maybe that's why Otto and Daemon butt heads so much, because they have essentially the same personality archetype.
Yeah. But Daemon has a dragon.
Yeah.
But now Otto does as well.
Yeah.
By proxy.
That's a great point. Daemon and Otto have the same personality. The difference is that Daemon could exert power with his dragon.
Whereas Otto has to be way more underhanded, scheming, manipulative. Daemon can just go out, take Dragonstone, fucking say, yeah, my wife's pregnant. I need an egg, so I'm gonna just be Prince of Dragonstone now. Bye. Yeah. And he just causes a ruckus by doing that, whereas Otto, to cause a ruckus, has to scheme for years to even make the smallest amount of ruckus.
Just a ruck. Yeah, no, I totally agree, and because you can see how infuriated that would make Otto to see Daemon accomplish all this stuff with so recklessly and so irresponsibly, so much more easily than Otto can accomplish anything.
Yes. Is
he lawful evil?
I mean, given where we've put Alicent, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Is he there?
Sure, for now. Yes, that'll do.
That's about right. Who would you like to talk about next? We don't have to go in order necessarily.
I suppose that's true, but we've squared away one row, which is really nice.
It's like Tetris. We can move the whole thing up now.
Have you seen Pinterest?
Pinterest?
Yeah, it's a thing.
That sounds wrong. Sounds bad.
It's alright. Who would be fun to talk about?
Caden in the live chat just said, did you know Otto's name is the same backwards?
It is not the same backwards. The same backwards would be Emas-et. So, piss on you.
Get out of here, Gladys. Would you like... there are super chats.
Probably should address those.
Would you like me to do a quick read-through of super chatters?
Sure, if you'd like to. If that gets you off, you weird person.
That's right. Father Paprika, thank you for the super chat, who says, since you're already demonetized, here's some cash for your effort.
We probably are. I can check.
Boopington says, it's 4 a.m. for me, but I can't miss this.
Oh, you absolutely can.
Gothica says, I'm just paying for my sins. $2. $1.99 for your sins. That's a pretty good deal.
Bargain.
Wasn't there a little bit of a Christian schism over this particular issue of indulgences?
We'll take it.
Kirk says, how dare you talk about a show I actually watched? Shame. Thank you. Omar Ken Renzia says, I love that Glidus guy. Don't know about that dodgy Alt-Shift X guy, though.
I wouldn't trust him.
Thanks for the super chat from Laffy He, who says, can we have hard official confirmation that Kristen Cole is the only true Sigma male?
Oh, no. Larry's is on that Sigma grind set as well.
He truly is.
Sorry. If you kill your entire family just because you think you might get feet pics out of it, that is... that is Andrew Tate distilled into one action.
Interesting Nerd Club says, there's a few problems with episode 9. Some of them plot, some of them war crimes. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I think that Rhaenys's massacre in episode 9 may have long-term consequences.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And there's a reason that the writers can't just come out and justify the scene, because it has big ramifications.
Yeah. which makes the inside the episodes all the more harebrained.
When they can't talk about what they meant.
And because you can tell that they film the inside the episodes all in one go, so the actors and showrunners can barely remember what's happened
which one's
in
that?
the particular point of the episode that they're supposed. Yeah, it's a mess.
It's like when someone asks me about a thing in a video, and it's like it's all just one big blur.
Yeah, they say, "Oh, UltraSwiftX, why do you believe this?" And I'm like, "Well, I haven't believed that since 3 years ago when I made the video that mentioned that idea."
You mean I said once in a live stream that I might consider this? No, actually.
Thanks for the super chat from Eric, who says, "Thanks for the great content. Glimbo plus Swift is better than Alt-Shift-X."
Agreed.
Co-signed. Muad'Dib says, "How is she evil, guys? She exploded a building full of civilians to instigate a war because she thought it looked cool." You talking about Rhaenys?
It sounds like Rhaenys.
I think Muad'Dib might be confused.
Any other explosions?
Oh, she's talking about Rhaenyra, I think. She threw the kingdom in the trash so that she could get it with her uncle. She didn't. When did Rhaenyra explode a building full of civilians?
Oh, I must have missed that episode.
It was that in episode 11.
Are you talking about Cersei? But the war was already happening. I'm confused.
Is he talking about 9/11?
We have... Oh my god.
Thanks for the super chat for a merit.
It really isn't.
Did we watch the same show, Muad'Dib? Thanks for the super chat for Merit, who says, "Just returned from Komodo Island."
Oh, fuck yeah.
Did you bring a Komodo dragon? We're talking about dragons. That's a dragon island.
Is that the entire super chat?
And maybe this was addressed earlier, but when are we getting the bliss takes? And
well, we had a good run. You have just delayed them by another week. Just by mentioning them.
They're no longer bliss takes. They're I miss takes. They are I wish takes. I could go all day.
Go on then.
No, I'm done. Thanks for the super chat from Gwen, who says, "Do I have to nail my 95 theses to the YouTube offer store over this? Let's start a new reformation."
I think these days you just email Susan.
Yeah.
Imagine that if Martin Luther had the capability to just email the Pope.
It would have been a Slack message with a lot of like reaction emojis on it. Forward indulgences. 99 theses. As stated earlier, what's the most passive aggressive phrase you can use in an email? Martin Luther would have used it.
As per my previous email.
Yeah, as per my previous email.
For sure.
Thanks for the super chats, folks.
Yeah, that was cool of you. Oh, right, character to talk about. Should we talk about the many nuanced differences between Jason and Tywin Lannister?
Jason and Tywin Lannister. I actually love the difference. I'm glad you asked, because I love the differences between Jason and Tywin.
This looks like so much fun for Mr. Hall to play both of these characters.
Absolutely. What are the differences between Jason and Tywin, Glodis?
Well, first of all, the hair length, which, as we know, really does indicate one's moral worth.
Truly.
This shot's so cool. Like, it's just so fun that they did this.
They didn't need to do this.
They really didn't. Twins do exist in the real world.
They could have cast 2 different actors to play Jason and Tywin.
Like they did with Eric and Eric Cargill.
And yet they chose... And you know what's fucking hilarious?
Don't tell me Jefferson Hall actually has a twin they could have cast.
You know what's hilarious? The 2 different characters who were played by one actor, Tyland and Jason, are easier to tell apart
than the actual twins.
Than the characters Eric and Eric, who are played by different actors, but are impossible to distinguish and tell apart.
Well, I think the whole point is that you can't tell which one's which when it comes to the Cargill twins.
Yes, I suppose that's true. But I love the way that Tyland...
This fucking shot.
They kept doing it. Jefferson, have lunch next to Jefferson. I'd like a table for 2, please, but there's just one of you.
Yes.
Amazing.
That's one hell of a screenshot.
Look what they can do with green screens these days. What'll they think of next?
You can do this without green screen.
What, by running... How would he do that? Would he run?
He just moves really
He just
fast.
moves really fast. Takes a bite out of his sandwich, puts it down, picks up the goblet. Because I love the way Thailand was introduced. Because they're on the hunt, and then this sort of like browbeaten messenger comes. He looks like he's run all the way from the Stepstones, and Thailand says, "Oh, we're starving. We're eating crabs.
He's so
the crabs are eating us." And he's so like just sort of disemboweled.
And Viserys is like, fuck off.
Which I think was genius. The way that like they intercut between Viserys just having a barbecue and like Corlys shitting in a bucket on an island trying not to get eaten by crabs. I thought that was incredible. But the way it introduced Thailand is like this browbeaten, like, you know, bureaucrat.
And then very little later we meet... Oh, sorry. You go on with your Thailand examples.
Well, I like how Thailand became more powerful and more arrogant and more similar to Jason as he went on.
Because now he has his own post, his position of power. When we like first meet him, he hasn't been Master of Ships for that long. Only since Corlys stormed out in episode 2.
Yeah.
Or you'd imagine a little bit after that. Yeah, and here he is, like, he's in the Green Council. He's like asserting his own positions without second thought. He's just like going, oh yeah, we should do treason.
Yeah. It's amazing how quickly that transformation happened. And I think it's like an example of like power
I don't know
corrupts,
if you could say quickly, because there's like 16 years in between those episodes.
Well, yeah, but quickly, like within the span of a season,
Yeah.
we got to see this guy transform from like a browbeaten messenger who seems like not very powerful, not very confident. And then he's like, yeah, I'm down for a treason. Why not? Look at that expression.
Yeah, it's like,
why not?
I'm surprised we hadn't done it already.
The more bling that he gets, the more willing he is to commit war crimes.
I really want to see his council ball.
It's gold.
Cool.
Because he's a Lannister.
That makes sense.
That tracks.
Saw some people who did not know that. Oh, you have it right there. Who did not know that the bowls are bespoke.
Well, every bowl should be bespoke.
You gotta have
bespoke bowls. That's why we're
bowls.
introducing our sponsor, Manscaped. We're not sponsored by Manscaped.
Yet.
What do you think about Jason, Glidus?
Jason is... Oh, he's such a scamp.
Such a little rascal.
He is like the peak of Lannister arrogance, isn't he? Oh, he just oozes it. He's such an arrogant dick. I love him.
He's like a cartoon. He's like what? He's like what?
When he like snaps for the servant to bring him wine, he's like, "Here's some wine," and he's like, "It's the best wine. It's the best wine you'll ever have." And Reno's like, "Okay, fine." And then later on, when she leaves, he's like, and he just spills it on the ground.
Doesn't someone say at some point that the wine tastes like terrible?
It's swill. It's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it's Viserys.
I loved his moves on Rhaenyra. Saying, yes, well, you see, I could
I don't have a kennel for your dog yet, but I could.
I could build one. And I love how that connects to, like, the previous story in Fire and Blood about how, like, a few generations back, a bunch of Lannisters tried to get a dragon. So, like, there's a beautiful continuity there with the book lore. God, they did a good job of connecting with the book lore.
Then you fast forward to Tywin trying to marry Cersei to Rhaegar.
Yeah,
Same
true.
idea.
True.
Same idea.
It's almost like George keeps recycling the same story.
The man hasn't had an original thought since 1984.
And he still hasn't finished it.
Imagine that.
Do you think we should get in a time machine to warn George?
About what?
Just go back to the 90s and say, hey, George.
Just do it. Just go.
Just don't sign the film deal yet.
Yeah. Wait.
No, you know what we should actually do? We should just get a copy of A Storm of Swords, A Feast of Crows, and A Dance with Dragons.
And hand them to him in
and
the year
give it to him
2000.
like in Back to the Future with the betting book thing.
I mean, we should probably wait for the Winds of Winter.
Yeah, how long are we going to wait? Anyway.
I'm happy to wait another 12 years.
Oh, I like the pain. Also just this face.
I don't know what we'd do if it came out. Because, like, the majority of this community's existence is in between these two books. I don't know how we'd cope.
It would change the meta.
I don't know what we'd do.
You know what would happen? There would be... there'd be a million Reddit. Everyone, all the like fucking Song of Ice and Fire theorists would pull a face just like that and go, "That's not my headcanon. George, you've got it wrong. Storm's End is actually a nuclear reactor."
Hey, let's not say things we may regret later on.
Why is this face not the thumbnail of this video?
Because you hadn't shown me this screenshot yet. That's so good.
My God.
Yeah, he had so much fun.
Yeah. No, he's having a great time.
Because Jason, he's such a wanker.
He's such a wanker, in a way, but it's authentic to what we know of the Lannisters as well, which is just beautiful. And I like how like the Lannisters of Game of Thrones and of A Song of Ice and Fire, Tywin, Jaime, Cersei, Tyrion, none of them are like Jason.
No, they're not like flamboyant cartoon characters.
Jason Lannister is like if you took all of the worst parts of those characters and none of the good parts and smushed them into a cartoon of a man.
I don't know. I don't see Jason ordering the gang rape of his son's wife.
That's true.
I just don't think he's a cruel man. Like, just he's vain. He's presumptuous about, other people. Like, he goes into this conversation already. He doesn't even just think that Rhaenyra is going to accept his proposal. He knows in his bones she's going to say yes. And so when she says no, he's like, this has never happened before.
Yeah, it's never occurred to him that things might not go his way. Yeah. And here's the thing. Like, I agree with you that Jason is nowhere near as brutal as Tywin and whatever. But he's only not brutal because he's never actually faced any pushback. He's never faced any adversity. So now that this conflict is brewing,
is a time of great peace and prosperity. There's no opportunity for. He doesn't have a son whose wife he could even order to have gang raped. So who knows?
So just as Thailand has changed, will Jason change? And when he does actually face adversity, what will he do? That'll be an interesting question, potentially, maybe, perhaps, in season 2. Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Do you think that the spear's going to make a comeback?
Oh, I hope so. Oh, it's the prop I've been most looking forward to seeing again. I mean, it belonged to Viserys, didn't it? Like, it was a donation, or did Jason take it back? Unclear.
I would love...
It's mine again.
I would love it if Jason took his spear and went home.
Well, he did give it to him after Rhaenyra said no.
That's true.
I have to assume that Viserys still had it.
Is Jason evil?
I just think he's dumb.
You can be both.
True. I don't think he's shown us enough about his, capacity for actions. He's clearly selfish, and he presumes things on other people's behalves. But
I wonder if Jason is complicit in Tyland's involvement in Otto's conspiracy to make Aegon king, which is treason.
I don't think you can say either way.
We don't know.
It's very difficult to make that kind of call because, clearly Hobart is complicit in what Otto's up to, or if he's not entirely aware of what's happening, he certainly, was a part of creating those circumstances. Whereas Tyland, as you said, he grew into his own confidence. Maybe he is acting completely independent of the rest of his family.
Yeah. Do you think Tyland's just going to call up Jason and say, "Hey, brother, here's the thing.
I have entangled us in a civil war.
We're doing some light to moderate treason.
Begin a general muster."
I would love to see Jason, and I hope we get to see this. I would love to see Jason at the head of a war council.
Oh my god, yes.
Wouldn't that be funny?
It'd be so good.
He's got all these badass Westerlands lords and generals, and he's trying to find the right end of a spear to point at the enemy. It's gonna be fun. Gwen in Super Chat, thank you, says Jason is a misogynist himbo Cersei. That's a lot to unpack.
Yeah. I think it mostly speaks for itself.
lawful dumb, someone says in the live chat. I think that
I told you we need that third axis.
I think he's very lightly evil. Like he's just
Probably.
like slightly a douchebag. Like he doesn't do anything evil that we know of.
Yeah, he just comes off as a dick.
Yeah. So like he's not. He's a bit below neutral.
I see you putting him toward lawful there. Care to explain that?
I put him towards lawful because the law benefits him, because he's the Lord of Castle Rock, and
suppose.
so why would he not be conventional? And he supports Aegon, which is sort of conventional. Although, didn't Jason swear to support Rhaenyra? Like,
I mean, he's not part of the montage in the pledges in episode 1, but I'm pretty sure everyone at the hunting party would have like done that.
yeah. So that's a bit chaotic.
And he assumes that Aegon is going to be the heir in episode 3.
Despite
He says to
Viserys's.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it's so hard to rank people on lawful when there are so many different interpretations of the law in this situation.
You just quoted Jaime Lannister verbatim.
Where's my Emmy? Where are my dragons?
Did he?
Where is my Emmy?
Did he win any? He should have. He was fucking amazing.
I think they collectively got plenty.
True.
Are you happy with Jason there?
Sure.
Thailand, I think, is a bit more evil because he was a more
He's
active
complicit in the treason. Yeah.
participant. Yeah, I'm not sure if he's chaotic or neutral, chaotic or lawful.
Well, he serves the king quite dutifully until he starts to undermine his wishes to concerning his heir.
Yeah, I think he has a lawful bent. Let's leave him there.
Yeah, difficult to say.
Who would you like to discuss next?
Oh, Lionel Strong could be fun.
Yeah. Lionel was great. Lionel was sort of an unexpected fan favorite.
Yeah,
I
what
think.
a presence on the show.
Because, I think like they sort of explicitly said, he was like the one guy who was not out for himself. He genuinely did try to give Viserys good advice. And he also tried to protect Harwin and his family, and, he just seemed like a genuinely decent guy. He was not like a total altruist or anything.
No.
Like, you still got the sense that he was still interested in power and interested in his family's supremacy, just not at the expense of the entire realm. You know?
Yeah. Well, you could see it as his house's power is entirely invested in House Targaryen and the stability of House Targaryen, because the Strongs, they did exist before they were made Lords of Harrenhal by Jaehaerys, I think it was. And but we don't know how minor they were. They could have been fucking nobodies until then.
Yeah, they could have been landed knights.
Yep. And so Lionel's support of just keeping Targaryen rule straightforward and strong, that is.
He said the thing.
I said the word. Oh, wait till we get to Jasper Wild. You could say that is self-interested, but it's it's convenient for him that his interests align with, what's typically perceived to be good.
Yeah, I guess it was kind of easy for Lionel to say what he said. There was no...
Although he absolutely could have argued to put forward Harwin as a suitor for Rhaenyra, and some would say that maybe he should have. Because could you imagine if Rhaenyra... Well, no, because if Viserys said, yep, you're marrying Harwin Strong, she would have been like, no.
Yeah.
Even though she ended up loving him.
Yeah, I can totally believe that part of Rhaenyra's attraction to Harwin was because it was, illicit. Because her whole sexual awakening with Daemon happened in the context of, secret, wrong, forbidden love. So, I think that's probably her thing. Which is why as soon as Rhaenyra married Daemon and made that forbidden love
legal
a marriage,
yeah,
I reckon that might have
killed the vibe.
That might have killed the vibe a little bit. Yeah, I think so.
Taking the edge off.
I think so. So Lionel's a pretty good guy. A lot of people in the chat are saying lawful good.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
Yeah, he's got to be lightly lawful good. He never does anything wildly self-sacrificing. I mean, I guess the biggest thing Lionel does is that he decides to quit being Hand of the King.
When he attempts to resign, that really is adherence to law, and it's also very self-serving.
Yeah, but like in a totally reasonable way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not like he's doing an Otto there.
He was completely right that his family was in danger. His mistake was not realizing that his son was about to make him into a barbecue chicken.
And really, how the hell could he have seen that coming?
I do wonder, like, how Lionel was as a parent to Laris.
Yeah, that's like the one thing I lament about. I mean, obviously, I wanted to see more of all three of the Strongs. But like Laris has like no meaningful interactions with either of his family members on the show.
Yeah.
He turns to Harwin and says, "Do you know what color Allison's dress means?" And Harwin's like, "Duh!" And he's like, "Yeah, green."
Hey, Harwin, do you know what a symbol is and how it differs from a metaphor and a motif? He gave him like a little English 101.
What's a metaphor?
I think it's like one more than a meta 3.
Interesting.
But one less than a meta 5.
Fewer.
Got him! Oh, fuck. Yeah, I think he's lightly lawful good.
Sure.
Yeah. He's the first lawful good.
We did it. We did it, gang.
We've got one in each quadrant. Shall we continue with the Strongs?
Yeah, let's.
Harwin...
I think he's a bit interesting for someone who has so little dialogue and so few actions.
He's a man of mystery.
Is he?
Well, he is because, like, we don't really know... Like, how did he feel about, like, initially hooking up with Rhaenyra, knowing that it's, like, high treason and that he could be killed for it?
From the conversation he had with Lionel in episode 6, you know, that great scene where Rhaenyra's eavesdropping and they're arguing with each other. I think Lionel throws a plate at the ground off screen. He like clearly states that his honor is invested in this. Like, he has a strong vision of what honor is, and it collides with what Lionel's vision of honor is. And later on, Laris says that honor is a millstone around their necks.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really interesting that they both have codes that they seem to really strongly stick to. It's just that Harwin's code involves fucking the princess.
Yeah, I can't help but think there's a little bit of motivated reasoning going on with Harwin's position.
You know how Jaime sees his love for Cersei as pure and honest and beautiful?
Yeah.
And everyone else in the world sees it as sick, vile, unlawful, and wrong?
Yeah.
I think that's what's going on here. And, like, the feelings one feels for one's princess, I mean, it becomes more complicated when it's your sister, Jaime. You know, is he wrong to value the love he feels for her? And, like, look at him. He's such a great daddy. Look at him.
It is so beautiful, the shots of Harwin with Joffrey. And because, yeah, like, I mean, we do keep saying that we wish we saw more of Harwin and Rhaenyra's relationship, but also, like, the little moments we got said so much.
So cute.
They said so much. And I also liked, you know, the painful farewell that Harwin had, and seeing the pain from Jace saying, "Is Harwin my father?" And so it's like, well, you know, I mean, Harwin and Rhaenyra's decision to hook up not only affects them and not only affects the realm, it affects those children who they never told the truth. So
Jace figured it out himself.
Which is like, what a fucked up thing for a kid to have to figure out themselves.
Yeah. And, like, because of this thing that Rhaenyra and Harwin have done, like, these kids' lives, like, the mere truth of their existence is a dire secret.
Yeah.
It's, like, doomed them to lives of political questioning.
But it's barely a bloody secret because of their brown hair.
Yeah.
It's screamingly obvious.
Idiots.
And the closer Harwin is to Rhaenyra, the more visibly Harwin is associated with Rhaenyra, the more obvious it is that he is the father of her children, the more her children are in danger, and the more the realm is destabilized. So their relationship is doomed from the start.
Yeah. But they're so cute together.
Just makes it more romantic.
It really is a big old Romulus and Julio kind of story.
Star-crossed lovers. Red comet-crossed lovers.
Baz Luhrmann. Did they have an edit where like someone points instead of there being a gun in that movie? Am I making that up?
Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, no, Romeo plus Juliet. Different movie. Sorry, it's confusing. I feel like we've lost the audience. No, this is complicated. Harwin, morally.
He's the strongest man in Westeros.
I wasn't convinced. I was never convinced of that.
I love the actor's performance as Harwin, but I wish they cast someone who looked like the strongest man in Westeros, because he does not look like the strongest man.
Yeah, like,
I mean, we've just come off seeing Gregor Clegane,
exactly,
played by the literal one of the strongest men in the world.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be funny if they just cast Thor Bjornsson as
a charming,
Harwin?
dashing, sweep you off your feet princess?
You just put on a wig and that'd be awesome. I think that Harwin hooking up with Rhaenyra and having all those kids, it's selfish.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's very romantic, but it's not a good decision. I think it's borderline evil because of how it destabilizes the realm and because of how it impacts the children.
How dare they undermine the institution of marriage in a feudalistic society? How dare they? How evil of them. Gotcha.
Checkmate.
Like, is it evil to question the... Oh, God, we're doing it again.
We just have to solve moral philosophy, Gladys.
Okay, quick. How much longer do we have?
They're pointing out in the chat, like, the Mountain comes back as Robert Strong.
Bob Muscles.
So, Thor was already... Yeah, Bob Muscles. Thor was already playing a Strong.
Why did Qyburn name him after a... extinct house?
I think it's a troll. It's just funny.
Lol.
It's like, well, I mean, what's like a historical, long lost line of people? It's like saying that, you're Tutankhamun's son. It's like, really?
Like that guy in Rhaenyra's suited procession who's a mud.
Yeah. That actually was hilarious.
What's going on there?
I think it was deliberate. They
were doing a troll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that he's got to be chaotic because he's doing a treason, and he's got to be lightly evil, in my opinion. Like, he's a nice guy, but his actions caused a lot of harm.
Seems to be a good dad. He cares about his kids who he shouldn't have had.
Yeah, well, he can't be a truly good dad because of the circumstances by which they were conceived.
Yep.
I think lightly chaotic evil.
Okay. Yes, Mr. X.
You want to talk about Laris?
Laris is a good little boy, isn't he? He knows a lot about flowers, so that's probably good.
That means he's a gentle soul.
Yeah, exactly. Just look at those puppy dog eyes.
Oh, he's got an interesting face, doesn't he?
He does. So this man is the face of evil.
Yeah, it was he seemed innocuous at first.
I think it's very cool that they introduce him as just like, oh, he's just a little dude, he's eating some crackers. My foot doesn't work, so I'm just gonna sit and hang out with you girls. Is that alright? Yeah, that's alright. You seem lovely. I'm gonna eavesdrop a little bit. Oh, hey, Allison, do you know about these flowers? Harwin, here's some dress facts. And then later on,
facts.
Shall I kill my brother and father? Because.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Yeah.
No, it was perfect. And I especially loved the sitting with the women introduction. Because, like, there are people who would not have even really noticed that he was a part of the story. Oh, yeah. Really. Like, he's barely an extra in episode 3, you know? Which is so perfect, because that's the whole point of him, is that he's unnoticed. What do you think about the Lionel-Harwin relationship? Because one of the things that the official guide said was that Harwin is fiercely protective of Laris.
I wish we'd seen that. That would have been so cool to see. Like maybe if while Kristen was, saying that Harwin's kids are Harwin's kids, he also like made fun of his disabled brother.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what pushes Harwin over the edge, and that makes it more ambiguous. Is that
Oh,
interesting?
I like that.
Did I just do writing? Anyway, that would have been so cool to see a little bit more between them. I really liked what we saw on screen, but I didn't get a protective feeling about it. It was just like two cordial brothers.
Yeah. Two brothers. Two cordial brothers.
Here come what is it? The old women. I haven't watched Rick and Morty in ages.
Yeah. I'm scared to rewatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said.
It's so easy when that kind of stuff happens.
I think. Do you think that Laris sent the moon tea? Because this is sort of the moment where we're like, oh my god, Laris is an actual political player. And what he does is he comes up to Alicent and says, oh, by the way, Rhaenyra got moon tea, which means that Rhaenyra did have sex with Daemon, and she lied to you, and thereby Laris sort of plants the seeds.
How the hell would Laris get an order to Grand Maester Melos?
That's a good question. What if he skin changed into Maester Melos because he's a green seer connected to the magic of the Weirwoods? What about that? Do you like that theory that Laris is a green seer?
Yeah, I did. And just like the Maester shit between Otto and Melos that kind of falls off after the first couple of episodes, and there's suddenly not very much to talk about. I think we kind of get a similar vibe from the whole Laris skin-changing rats thing.
But we see more and more rats.
Maybe
look at all the rats.
Maybe that's just symbolism.
Look at all the rats. They're everywhere.
I mean, isn't this just episodes 4 and 5? And I think there's one in episode 6 as well.
4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 have rats.
And that's it.
That's it.
And I guess like that is when Laris is at his peak gaming moments. But, he also does a bit of gaming in episode 9, and there's no rats there except for Aegon.
Yeah, that's a good point. That they have not really associated Laris with the rats, and the rats. There is the alternative explanation that the rats are just about the decay in Viserys and in the kingdom, and there is a thing.
Boring. Isn't it more fun if he's like a wizard?
Could be both.
Yeah.
Could be both.
Yeah, the rats are never like explicitly tied to Laris in any way. It's a very loose association. But I think that they were going for something with the Weirwood. Yeah. Because the Strongs are descended from First Men, and they hold Harrenhal, which has a living Godswood. There's a bit of a thing going on there. Yeah, there's a lot of... and, the Isle of Faces, which is the most significant center of magic of the old gods in the world that we know of, just happens to be Laris's backyard. Hop, skip, and a jump away from hanging out with some green men. And, George likes writing about kids who are disabled, like Bran, and because they are physically weakened, they then turn to other forms of power, like magic. That's what Bran does. That's sort of what Tyrion does. It's kind of what Sam does. If we're calling being fat a disability. Well, George does this because it's how he thinks of himself. George writes a lot about fatness. And how fat people can still be cool guys. But are sometimes monstrous. Have you read The Pear-Shaped Man? I know about The Pear-Shaped Man. George wrote a very, very horrifying short story in the 80s about a pear-shaped man who's like this fat man who's very creepy and murderous. And I don't even remember what happens, but he's just very spooky and creepy, and it's largely about his fatness. And I think, George is and has been a large man, and he writes a lot about large men. And the different things they can do with their lives. Because Sam's a fat dude, but he's a good guy, right? And he's off doing good things. Who knows what the intended future story is for him. But it seems like he's a well-intentioned dude. But then you have, Illyrio. Yeah. And is Varys supposed to be fat? No, I don't think he is. I think that's just how artists typically do him. I think he's described as soft and plump. Yeah. Yeah, right. Wyman Manderley is a really cool character who also is a cannibal.
Yezanzo Quagas happens to be the most obese character in the story, and also is one of the most monstrous characters in the story.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is interesting how George writes about fatness.
Or maybe it's just a thing he puts on some characters and we're thinking way too much about it. Nah, I couldn't. No. So they decided to have the one visibly disabled character have a fetish associated with said disability.
Look, I totally get it. The people who say that it's too weird and goofy, but like honestly, I love it. Like honestly, it makes sense to me.
I don't have a problem. I just think it's funny to say it like that, you know, because it like kind of points fingers in a way. But no, I don't think
it doesn't point fingers. It points toes. Sorry. I think it was fantastic.
Me Angie, no talk.
Because it's about power.
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
about humiliation.
Like, he gets to demean the queen.
Demean the queen's feet.
That doesn't rhyme.
It's called a close rhyme, Glidus. A near rhyme.
True. Sorry, Mr. Mathers.
You're a songwriter.
Oh, yeah.
Why does every songwriter I know answer like that? Why is that always the tone?
Like, oh God, I am. Aren't
Oh
I?
no.
Yeah.
Oh
Well, you're a rap doer.
no, I'm not.
You are. Sorry.
No, it's not true.
See?
Fuck. So Laris, he likes toes and murder.
Well, we don't know exactly what part of this he really likes.
Maybe he's a heel man.
Couldn't be.
Yeah, the angle's not right. He loves arson. What do you think about the whole fireflies thing?
So that was there for my dad, who can't keep track of what's going on in the episode. And so when the little dude shows up to set Harrenhal on fire, there's just a little firefly there to make sure you know, hey, this is that dude Laris had, even though they could have just had him go and showed that he doesn't have a tongue, and that would have had the same effect.
Do you think that would have been more elegant? If the guy looked at the screen and went, oh, fire time.
Yeah, that would have done it.
That would have been elegant. They should put us in the writer's room.
Yeah, what do you think the fireflies mean?
I thought it was really fucking funny when the Firefly thing happened. And to clarify, for those who don't remember, the Fireflies are the people from the dungeons who Laris ripped out their tongue, and he used them to commit murders as like his hit squad of minions. Those are the Fireflies.
These minions.
These minions.
Like those minions.
Well, I mean, the yellow pin, it looks a bit like a minion, actually. If you zoom on it, it's yellow and round. It's yellow and round like a minion.
Shit.
But these are his fireflies who wear the.
Don't look so
firefly
much
pin.
like the minions.
Oh, well, have you seen those sequels? No, I haven't.
No.
That's the firefly, and I thought it was really funny when this episode came out, and everyone on Twitter's like, "It's a bee," because Laris pollinates the flowers, and he's like,
I didn't hear this.
That's one thing that people are saying. Other people are saying, "Oh, it's like a dung beetle," or it's like
No, it's a bee because they're actually agents of Lyman Beesbury.
Beesbury.
Lord Beesbury.
There are all these theories about what it is, and no one thought it was a firefly until the official guide said it was a firefly.
Right.
And it's a firefly because he causes fires.
Ah. Yeah. No, yeah, that's good.
The bee thing was so much cooler. It was so much cooler. But yeah, he just does a bunch of fires. He kills his own father and brother at Harrenhal.
That's Massaria.
And then he tries to kill Mazzaria.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Laris told Mazzaria and let her go, and they're secretly in cahoots?
That could very well be a thing. We don't know if Massaria survived in episode 9 here.
I suppose we don't.
She could be burnt Skellingman right now.
No spoilers.
Well, by saying that, you have made people think that it was.
I
a
just
spoiler.
periodically say no spoilers.
It's like it's a tick, not a firefly.
Bug jokes, Helena. Helena with
I-
the bug jokes.
My biggest annoyance for having not released an episode 6 video yet is that I haven't shared my Helena take with the world yet. I'm so excited to talk about Helena.
Gladys, I know that you have like a dozen fire bug jokes locked and loaded, ready to go. And the fact that you've been sitting on them for so long,
I have such restraint.
you really do. It's incredible.
Oh, I didn't say
Your ability to not release content.
I guess this stream kind of came out of nowhere for the majority of people, and I've just been gone for 2 months and haven't said anything.
Oh.
Yeah, lol, because the majority of people don't follow you on Twitter or join the Discord
What?
or whatever. It's crazy.
There are people who don't follow Glidus
I
at
know.
Glidus on Twitter.net.
Twitter.com/glidus.com. Discord.gg/glidus. Patreon.com. Anyway, yeah, no, I had COVID for a month and died, and now I'm back, baby, and I'm working on all 5 of the videos, so leave me alone.
You got the grayscale.
Yeah, I got great. I'm better now though.
That's good.
Yeah.
Did Sam?
Yeah, Sam peeled all my skin off.
Oh God,
It was fine.
it was fine. Fucking
you
Jorah.
believe
What the fuck was that?
What a cop out.
What a stupid subplot.
Oh
Why?
my god.
Why? Like they established earlier in the show that maesters, like Stannis' maesters, cured Shireen's grayscale.
Yeah.
They didn't have to peel her skin off.
I think
Did
they
Sam
mention-
peel Jorah's skin off as a joke?
just to see what would happen?
Like there are multiple ways to cure grayscale, and Sam chose the method that involves peeling your skin off.
Yeah.
Why did he do that?
Did they mention that child grayscale is kind of different to adult grayscale? Or did they leave that out?
I guarantee you that nothing D&D published went into that level of detail about grayscale, the Eastern disease that afflicts 2 characters in their show.
Yeah.
Several more if you include the Stone
And
Ring.
the second one, they just gave him grayscale and then just took it away later because...
Baffling stuff.
Anyway, we're not here to fuck spiders. Laris Strong. Oh, it's more bugs. I just can't.
Again with
I
the
just can't
bugs.
keep away. No. What are we doing? Come on, just put him.
He's evil.
Just put him in the bottom right corner.
He's the most evil. Is he chaotic?
Yes.
Yeah, he's chaotic. He like Littlefinger, he creates conflict and division so that he can... Because here's one of the interesting things about Laris is that in episode 9 he cozies up to Otto.
Yeah.
Like Laris isn't just working with Alicent, he's
No.
working for Otto as well, and potentially...
You think maybe Missaria?
I feel like potentially maybe Mazzaria, but
Yep.
I suppose there's no solid evidence for that. Yeah, he's chaotic evil. I feel like he's more evil than chaotic, but yeah, he's got to be the most evil character in the show for sure.
Oh, I don't know. We haven't talked about Harold Westerling yet.
I hear he kicks puppies
No,
for fun
no,
on the weekends.
not my mate Harry. What kind of puppies?
Is there a
As if
kind of
that
puppy that would be
changes
more acceptable?
I'm not telling.
I think we should do a quick super chat round.
They appear to be stacking up.
Thanks for the super chat from Chronic Love, who says, "Please add dragons to this."
I
Vhagar is
I
lawful
told
good.
you.
Gliders did say that we should have put on the dragon. We're going to do a separate video to rank the dragons,
Thank
okay?
God. Oh my God.
Noodleneck will get his
day in court.
His day in he should not have stepped on that Valerion. It was not right. Thanks for the super chat from Gatehead, who says every Simpsons character ranked good or evil.
Oh my
real.
God.
That would take.
We take 4 hours to talk about 8 characters.
I think the heat death of the universe would occur before we completed that live stream.
What do you think of Mr. Bumblebee Man?
Racist. Next.
Good fucking lord.
Thanks for the super chat from Mr. Vulture, who says, these streams are genuinely the most fun I've had watching YouTube.
Aw.
Thanks for the fantastic humor and highly intellectual, in-depth commentary.
You need to listen to some smarter people, dude. No, but thank you. That's so kind.
That's very lovely, Mr. Vulture. Glidus, thanks for bringing the highly intellectual, in-depth commentary and fantastic humor so that I could bring...
I have responded in comedic ways to several things you've said tonight with just the word "come."
No, it wasn't just the word "come." It was the word "come."
What did I say? Blasters.
Cum blasters, which I think is a cut above.
I suppose that is like a colourful euphemism for Willy, isn't it?
Thanks for the super chat from Quinevere, who says Jason DeManister. Jason DeManister. Jason the Manis.
No, I get it. Because Lannister is Italian for the Nister.
Is it really?
Yeah.
We're learning things tonight. Thanks for the super chat from Lucy, who says, any idea why they added the council balls? I was waiting all season for a ball to roll across the table through a puddle of Lyman Lannister's blood.
Lyman Beesbury.
Lyman Beesbury. What did I say?
Lannister.
Shit.
Lyman Lannister.
Lyman Lannister.
What a stupid name! Who named you? Some halfwit with a stutter?
Bobby B. It's like you never left. These council balls...
They're so cool.
They are super cool. I don't think there's any super grand reason. I mean, Lyman Beesbury was killed by having one of these balls enter his brain, so I guess it was sort of relevant there. But I think the showrunners talked about it as just like a cool visual symbol of the council.
Yeah, it really sounded like someone just said, hey, what if they all just had balls that they like check in with and check out with? And they're like, yeah, that's cool. Let's just do that. And it's just a thing. And they don't do anything with it.
I think it just adds to the visual richness of the situation.
Makes the world a bit more unique.
I think in the house that Dragons built, they did actually talk to the person who suggested it, who was just like, I have these cool resin balls. Can we use them? Like, where am I going to put these balls? And Ryan Condal was just like, on my table. So that's what happened.
Balls on the table, please.
Balls on the table. It's how you start every meeting in a corporate office.
This is how billiards was invented.
Thanks for the super chat from Earth to Maggie, who says, I hope you're having a good day. Thanks for streaming, Glidus and Swifty.
You had a good day?
I am having a good day.
Cool.
And I hope you are too, Earth to Maggie. Thanks for the super chat from Marcus, who says, it's funny how Thailand ended up being the evil twin.
Jury's still out, I would say.
Yeah, I think both of those characters have a way to go. But yeah, I mean, I like how Jason appears to be the more sort of obviously villainous douche, whereas Thailand becomes the quietly, sinisterly evil douche, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Two different flavors of douche. Phrasing. Thanks for the super chat from Pluveo, who says, Condal and others like to imply that things are morally balanced between the two sides, when that's clearly false. Why do you think that is?
Well, I don't know if it's quite as clear as that. I think the show actually did more to make both sides understandable than the book did. Because when I read Fire and Blood, I'm like, the Greens are just like, this is... I don't know how you're going to excuse this shit, man. But when I watch the show and I see what Alicent goes through and I see the peril that Otto perceives... I'm like, nah, I'm getting it, dude. I see what's going on here. And obviously the blacks do a bunch of reprehensible shit. Take that one out of context and there'll be a... Send that one to Media Matters.
Oh, God. We'll disable the YouTube clips feature. So that
Oh, God. That stuff terrifies me.
Oh, God.
I don't know, what do you think?
I think that... we should think about it less in terms of the sides, the Greens and the Blacks, and we should think about it more in terms of each individual character. Because, yeah, like, I agree with you, Pluevo, that the Greens seem more villainous than the Blacks. And that's also true in the book.
Yep.
I think that what the show has done is made each individual character more morally ambiguous. Like, in the books, Rhaenyra and Alicent seem pretty evil in the books.
They both seem way more redeemable in the show.
The show does
Both
a
of them.
lot of work to add a lot of layers to all of the primary characters.
Except for Aegon.
Well, except for There's added more layers of horrible,
Yeah.
which I love. I think they did a great job with Aegon. So yeah, I think it's more about like having like complex layers of motivation and complexity within each character, as opposed to like, is green or black evil? Like both.
Are you saying I shouldn't reduce this to tribalism?
It might be a little more complicated.
No, it's a football match.
So I have to interrupt this because Pierce Smith in the live chat just said Jason and Tyland switched.
I don't think we know enough about either of them to say that definitively, but I like the idea.
I think it's really cool because that happens in Fire and Blood with, was it Araya and what's the name? Who were the Targaryen
Rala.
twins who got something? They all have the same fucking names, but there were a couple of Targaryen twins who were switched because like one of them wanted to be an Acept and one of them wanted to be a badass princess. And people noticed that, the personalities have changed of these twins because they secretly switched lives.
You mean like they were literally switched?
They were literally switched.
I thought you meant like in terms of, their characters.
Yeah, no, they literally
inhabited
inhabited
that's
each other's
Jason
lives.
on the council. Okay, no, I like that.
Right?
Let's do it.
Maybe Tywin and Jason could do the same thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, there's a lot of instances of twins posing as each other, especially in Jaime and Cersei.
Yeah, true.
The Lannister twins swapping places. Why not?
Yeah. Lannisters have a history.
Well, a future.
Do you think that Lannisters have a higher rate of twins?
Yep.
Because Casterly Rock is a nuclear
Absolutely.
generator. And that's where dragons mutated. From squishes.
What the fuck?
I think we might wrap up this live stream in a little bit. But we'll try to answer some more super chats.
Yes, let's get to these.
Radnedge, thank you, says, I hope Jason and Tyland don't turn out like Cersei and Jaime. The last thing A Song of Ice and Fire needs is self-zest.
I mean, that is what Jaime and Cersei are. Or at least to Cersei. Cersei sees Jaime as a Cersei she can fuck.
Yeah, it's like if Narcissus could actually fuck the pool of water.
Oh my god.
He could actually fuck his reflection. Thanks for the super chat from Lachlan, who says, glad to finally catch you boys live on this toasty summer evening.
Isn't it great?
It is great. I'm glad. We should do this again, Glidus.
No, I'd love to do this more frequently.
Thanks for the super chat from the Interesting Nerd Club, who says, we never see Harwin's body unambiguously. Laris is keeping him alive under the Red Keep. That's your Nerd Club tinfoil for today.
I wish.
Do I need to bring up the shot?
I'm pretty sure it's like... Do you need a character to walk on screen and say, I have with me here Harwin Strong's corpse?
Here's Harwin. Here's all the fiery debris falling on his head. That is Harwin alive? That is Harwin dead. What's that? Do we need another Simpsons reference? You can actually see the moment where his head breaks.
Yeah. Oh. Poor Ralphie.
Poor Ralphie. Yeah, I think he's dead. Thanks for the super chat from Lucas Lambs, who says, Harwin break back, thick as a castle wall. Republic of Dave says, if only his name was Harwin Breakdoors.
Aw. You know, the actor, what's his name? Gavin Spokes, Lionel's actor. He broke the crowbar that they were using as that prop when he was bashing the door.
That is so cool.
Oh, man, it's so fitting.
These Strongs, they are strong.
Yeah.
But you know what the irony is? Harwin's failure to beat down the door, he wasn't strong enough to beat down the door, and that's why he died.
Yeah.
And I think that Laris might have...
F's in the chat.
F's in the chat. I think that Laris might have taken a twisted pleasure in that, because Laris, being the disabled brother of the strongest, most able man in the kingdom...
Kind of has a Tyrion vibe to it, doesn't it?
Absolutely has a Tyrion-Jaime dynamic type thing. I think that Laris may have felt some jealousy with Harwin. So, I don't know, there is a certain, probably accidental, poetry to Harwin's strength failing him.
I
in
think
the
that's
end.
like the virtue of having such a well-realized world is that all of these wonderful parallels can happen by complete accident.
They write themselves.
Yeah.
That's why this A Song of Ice and Fire community exists.
That's
is
why we go nuts over the slightest suggestion of a connection.
Yeah.
Good job, George.
Good job, George. Thanks for the super chat from the Republic of Dave. Oh, we said that one.
Yeah, he's in that one.
Thanks for the super chat from John T. Savage, who says, "What do you think of the theory that Laris is a green seer?"
We kind of went over that. I like it, but I don't think that's what they're doing at the moment. Like, I'd need more to say that that's what they're doing.
I think they... If you put a gun to my head, I would say that they won't do that and reveal that in the show.
Yep.
Maybe they'll do some subtle hint. And, you know, like, there's opportunities to do little subtle hints.
I think what I would need in terms of hints is if something happens to that Weirwood at the same time something happens to Laris, then I'll accept it.
That's a great point, because that Weirwood exists in the time of Hot D, but it doesn't exist in the time of
It's
God.
not there in the books. All the people in the comments telling me that it's there in the books, they're wrong. They're wrong on the internet about a fantasy show, and I'm so sorry for them. I can't imagine how embarrassing that must be.
Is there anything worse? Is there any crime more despicable than being wrong about a fantasy show on the internet?
Of all places.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that would be cool. What if like, yeah, the Weirwood in the Red Keep burns and then Laris screams and writhes?
Well, we know that something has to happen to it because it's not there in Game of Thrones.
Yeah. And to clarify, like, part of the idea is that maybe Laris is skin-changing, warging into the rats in the Red Keep as a way of spying on things, and that's how he knew about Melos's moon tea, and that's how he manipulates things. Like, cause like, how the fuck did Laris know about the moon tea?
Yeah, true.
How did he know?
I mean, he's established as a spy master. Like
We don't see any of his spies. Mazaria, we see her spies.
True.
We see very clearly the children. We see the children relay the information to
She's
Otto.
doing a Varys. Yeah.
Whereas Laris, in striking contrast,
He's just a dude.
he's just a dude who just knows everything.
Yeah, he's got to figure that stuff out somehow. And then the Weirwood Association. There's got to be something going on.
And he likes the leaves, which also happen to be red. The little plant with the red flowers. Yeah. And he's the fucking
and there's a lemon
Isle of
tree
Faces
behind
is
him.
in his back. The lemon tree. That is such a. I swear to God, Ryan Condal, you need to explain
He's
yourself.
trolling Preston Jacobs specifically.
Yeah. I want Ryan to put like some like tinfoil YouTubers logos like in the background of like some like a tapestry
Imagine
or something, like just as a.
Oh, dude.
That'd be funny. Thanks for the super chat from Olivia, who says, "Where are the rats on the alignment chart?"
Rats are unquestionably good creatures. They are chaotic, although they do have their own societal structures, rats.
Have you ever encountered a rat king, Glidus?
Not personally, no.
Just through a mutual acquaintance. Thanks for the super chat from John T. Savage, who says, "I did. Alyssa Thorne.
I did.
2090 died."
Do you understand?
That's what he said. I did the killing of John. Is that what he
when
did?
the Night's Watchman is like, who killed the Lord Commander? And Alice is like, oh, me, I did it. Yep, me, that was me.
I think Alyssa was expecting an I am Spartacus type situation where all of his fellow conspirators would stand up for him.
I did.
No, I did. Yeah, so much for that. Thanks for the super chat from Elliot, who says, "Love you, Glimbus and Alt Shaft." I think you mean Alt Swift, but that's.
We'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it. Would you rather have Otto or Tywin as your hand? Otto.
Otto.
Tywin is a monster. Tywin is.
I like Otto's
worse.
clearly out for himself, but if you think Tywin is any better in that regard, and Otto seems to be like a very hardworking, capable leader.
Yeah. I believe that Otto would be good at getting stuff done as Hand of the King. And while he might try to get you to marry his daughter, he's probably not going to murder you. Whereas, like, Tywin...
Tywin's murdering you.
Yeah. He'd do it as soon as eat breakfast. Thanks for the super chat from Lucy, who says, is there an alternative to Twitter for reasons? There's Discord. Why don't you get on the Discord? There's a Glidus Discord. Get in there.
Discord is an interesting alternative. Like, it doesn't really function the same as a social network.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this Hive place or Mastodon. I haven't looked into them at all. But if you want, if what you're looking for is updates from your favorite YouTubers, subscribe to their email lists.
That we don't have.
Yeah. That'd be good though, wouldn't it?
Isn't that fucked? Like, every popular social network has no option to reliably, consistently send notifications
Even
to all
YouTube.
your followers. Yeah, YouTube does not send notifications to everyone, even if you turn on the bell. Twitter...
And the second bell that says that you really mean it, then
Yeah.
you still don't get everything.
The are you sure? I mean, Twitter, you can turn on notifications for tweets, but we sometimes tweet about stupid stuff, not
Yeah.
actual important
And
announcements.
sometimes you get like notifications about I've liked some piece of art that you might not be interested in, or some obscure political take that is just going to ruin your perception of me.
Your perfect perception.
Untarnished.
I feel like there might be a world in which Patreon, because you can subscribe to it, you can follow a Patreon page without paying to be a patron.
And
can't
OnlyFans
you? OnlyFans
works the same way.
Smoke signals. I mean, I think a podcast RSS feed is one of the last
Tried
reliable.
and true. It's
Yeah.
like been around forever, and it still works the exact same way.
So what you should do is, there is an Alt Shift X podcast, which I think will put this stream on.
Sure.
So you can subscribe to that, and then you'll reliably get whatever high quality content it is that you see in these streams directly to your thing.
As for me, if you want updates on everything that I want you to see, you'll get pinged in the Discord server if you're in it.
Yeah, get in the Glidus Discord.
Oh, no, don't.
Don't get in the Glidus Discord. Thanks for the super chat from Ronan, who says, upload to Alt Shift ZZZ, please. This will be on the Alt Shift X podcast feed, so you can get it on Spotify and everything.
Is Alt Shift... Are you Alt Shift ZZZ?
No, that's some other guy. I don't know why they would...
Strange association.
That's bizarre.
I was confused by that.
I don't even know what Alt Shift is.
Something about straw hats?
Bizarre. Thanks for the super chat from Radnedge, who says they probably had to get rid of the council balls after Varys joined the small council.
God damn it. God damn it.
That's a joke that season 7 Peter Dinklage would have made. Thanks for the super chat from Ashley Thompson, who says, thank you so much. This is making my day. Do you think that all maesters are basically the same level of good, bad, chaotic, lawful?
No. Thank you. No.
Next.
No, clearly, like, Pycelle is way more politically, like, ambitious and aligned than someone like, I don't know. Well, Lewin's not a great example.
Crescent.
Yeah,
We get a POV chapter from Crescent.
Crescent's fucking perfect.
Crescent's the best. He cares so much. He's just trying to be a dad to Stannis and Renly, and he's trying
And
so
it's
hard.
tearing his heart apart.
Yeah. There's so much emotion in Crescent's chapter. And like, he tries to kill Melisandre. Crescent tries to assassinate Melisandre. But he doesn't go, ooh, this is to fulfill the Maester conspiracy, because the Archmaesters they don't like magic, and we're against the Targaryens and dragons and prophecies. So we go, no, he's saying, I need to kill Melisandre to remove...
To save my son.
To save my son. Stannis.
Yeah.
He's his symbolic son. It's so beautiful. So yeah, like I think what George would say is that, you know, all these characters are human people who have their own feelings and motivations. Boring, lame.
Oh, George, you weird hippie.
Making us care about fictional people.
Crescent's so cool.
Thanks for the super chat from John T. Savage, who says Henry Cavill as Cregan Stark.
He's too old, isn't he?
Yeah, he's too old.
and the wrong kind of ruggedly handsome. And also, I'm just so sick. Like, I have nothing against Henry Cavill, but like, can we just find another actor?
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
like Chris Pratt. Like,
Yeah.
can we just stop?
I don't know why Henry is. I don't know why he's such. He's. I don't get it. He's got a big chin. I get it. He's got a big chin. Is that
he
it?
an exceptional actor? I don't think he is. Like, he's good, sure, but I don't.
I watched
understand
his
the hype.
Superman. He didn't act once.
No,
I didn't see
no.
a single act.
I mean, there's other issues with those movies, you could say.
That's another live stream.
Oh my god, could you imagine? We're not allowed to talk about anything else. This is our lives.
We'd be tarred and feathered
Yeah.
if we dared to
You
discuss.
make a video about BoJack Horseman and everyone's like, what the fuck is this?
Do you ever worry that like in an alternate universe, if your first popular video was about something else,
I made a Hollow Knight video.
you might be a professional Hollow Knight YouTuberist instead of a dragon
Yeah,
YouTuberist.
and I tried to give my House of the Dragon take on YouTube, and I was like, shut the fuck up and start talking about bugs again.
How does this relate to again with the Helena stuff? Thanks for the super chat from Mason, who says, "Will you guys start a petition to change the firefly symbol to a little piggy, like the pink dread?"
I think that power to the people, and you're one of the people. So
Yeah. Why are you asking us? You have the power, Mason.
yeah, we don't know anyone at HBO.
Thanks for the super chat from Cordus, who says, "Are you still planning to eat the Winds of Winter, Glidus?"
Yes,
and I will make sure it happens. Don't worry.
I'm gonna use my silver play button as a plate.
It'll be a gold button by the time the Winds of Winter comes out.
Shit.
Thanks for the super chat from Wealth Wolf, who says, "We need a 4-dimensional graph. Good or evil, nice or mean, sweaty or chafed, hot or not." Thanks for the great stuff.
I don't know if a hot or not's dimension is that worthwhile when, like, they're all acted. They're all, you know...
Yeah, that's what I hate about all these HBO shows. Every actor is between a 7 and a 9. That's just what Hollywood looks like.
Tyrion Lannister is supposed to be, like, the most unlookable at thing on the planet. And Peter Dinklage, he's not just, like, the most handsome dwarf he's, like, one of the most handsome men on the planet.
His voice alone.
And they gave him a sexy scar. Like, there's no competition.
Yeah, I agree. They're all hot. But who is the most sweaty?
The most sweaty.
I think Harwin Strong has a musk to him. I think he's
right, that kind of... I was thinking of, like, fat, exhausted, sweaty, not, like, workout sweaty.
Oh, okay.
Don't know why my mind jumped to that. Yeah, no, you're probably right.
Who's the most chafed?
The most chafed, Mellows.
Yeah, he's all chafed. Oh my god, can you imagine the dry friction on his robes? My
Stop.
goodness. Oh, I could go on. Thanks for the super chat from Maynard Plum. An honor to have Maynard
Ooh.
Plum in the,
Hello,
in the
sir.
chat. What up, Glidus and Swifty? You guys made my drive to work enjoyable this morning. Thank you, Maynard. I hope you didn't crash. Thanks for the super chat from Lucas, who says, "All Amon's ilk of in the story are good. I wonder what the best and worst names in the A Song of Ice and Fire. Also, it's pronounced Z, not Z, and it's called soccer."
Ah. Wrong.
Thanks for the super chat from And Saldre says, "It's weird that Ryan Condal calls Aegon morally grey." I think that what Ryan was trying to say is that Aegon is a horrible villain, but he's a horrible villain who has a bit of emotional depth. And, like, seeing his feelings of inadequacy, seeing how he struggles with his dad Viserys, who ignores him, and his mother Alicent, who hits him and shouts at him. There is some pathos there that I think is powerful, and which makes him a little bit more than just a monster.
I think he's closer to Ramsay than the Mountain. I think that's basically what it is. 'Cause
Yeah.
the Mountain is straightforwardly evil. And, like, sure, we hear a little bit about some of the trauma he faces, but, you know, he's got ringing in his ears. So do I. I don't rape and murder people so far as the authorities are informed. And like Aegon, like Ramsay, you can absolutely see how his upbringing has impacted him.
Yeah.
And yeah, like Ramsay's clearly more sadistic than Aegon. Aegon's just like an ignorant dumbass who doesn't understand how his actions impact others. And he's a shit person. Like he should be aware at this point what he does, but Ramsay doesn't care. That's the difference, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great comparison with Ramsay and Gregor. Ramsay having like a little bit of emotional depth and Gregor having none.
Yeah.
Thanks for the super chat from Jordan, who says, glad y'all are streaming. It's already made my morning. Thoughts on Preston Jacobs' time-traveling brain theory?
Bran.
It says brain.
Does it?
I'm just reading it as written.
Oh, man, time-traveling brain. Well, I guess that is another Preston Jacobs idea, funnily enough. Because in other George R. R. Martin stories where he does time travel, it's always like time travel through consciousness. It's never like physical forms going back in time. It's like you send your mind back to occupy a former self or someone else to influence actions. And I think that's a really interesting line to draw through George's work to A Song of Ice and Fire. As for time-traveling Bran, I think it is the best explanation for what the Three-Eyed Crow is, and I'm looking forward to disagreement from my colleague here, but I don't know what he's going to say.
So you're saying that the Three-Eyed Crow vision that appears in Bran's mind is his future self traveling through time?
Yeah.
Whereas Bloodraven, the old man in the tree, he's not the Three-Eyed Crow.
Yeah.
Even though the appendix says that he's the Three-Eyed Crow.
Does the appendix say Bloodraven, the Three-Eyed Crow?
Yeah, I think so.
Does it?
Well, not Bloodraven. It says, like, the last
Brynden
Greenseer, the
oh,
Three-Eyed
right.
Crow, Brynden.
Well, that might just be... this is Cope. That might just be, like, the appendix as the characters we know understand it to be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, there are probably other lies
But like when
in the
Bran
appendix.
gets to the cave and asks Bloodraven, "Oh, you're the Three-Eyed Crow, yeah?" And Bloodraven's like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Sorry."
So in the appendix, it says, the Three-Eyed Crow in the cave.
Also-
The last Greenseer. His name's Brynden.
Huh.
That's the Three-Eyed Crow. So, like, George didn't have to make it explicit.
I suppose.
But I also do agree with you that, yes, like, it is weird that when they confront...
When I first read it, I was like, "Well, that's just Brynden not being entirely cognizant of how his projections manifest in Bran's mind or whatever."
Yeah.
But, I like the idea that it is Bran influencing Bran, and we know that time travel is a factor in the story, which is its own headache. I like the idea.
I prefer the idea that, like, if the Three-Eyed Crow is something else, it's just like the old gods. It's the other
Sure.
Greenseers that are plugged in. It's the Children of the Forest. Like, they are
Although,
already...
could you see a future where Bran becomes that?
Well, then it really becomes fucking timey-wimey, doesn't it? Because
Do you
the old
not-
gods...
Do you not see it becoming timey-wimey?
I don't see a lot of timey-wimey in A Song of Ice and Fire published books.
Okay.
Like, there's a few moments where, like, Theon hears through the trees and Bran, and then, like, Bran appears in Jon's dream early, I think. Like, there is hints of timey-wimey,
Yeah,
but
right.
I'm not quite sure if I'm ready to see Bran become the omnipresent
Right.
god
see,
through time.
The Preston Jacobs theory basically puts it that time travel is like a central unifying element to the story. So I can see your aversion to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see it being super central, but I mean, there has been some subtle time travel in the story so far, and I could see more in the future, but I don't expect it to be a super pivotal plot mechanic.
I hope not, because it's really weird and confusing, and it never really works out.
Yeah, it's never
great.
satisfying. Time travel.
I like the time travel in his other stories, but that also is like never a hyper mechanical thing. It's always about one interacting with yourself. It's a really interesting way to put the human heart in conflict with itself.
Yeah, your future heart and your past heart.
Yeah, why not?
I guess on a symbolic fantasy sort of sense, it does make sense as a way of, confronting oneself. Like,
Hi.
hello. Aren't you me? Yeah, sure. All right, final super chat, and then we'll wrap up the live stream. Joe McCann says, "Can we talk about Beesbury now, please?"
I guess we have to.
We're left with no choice.
The most honorable, good, loyal servant. I mean, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, look, he stood up when it counted.
Yeah.
And
he's the realist.
he had nothing to gain from what he did.
They fucking killed him.
I think that he may have had no idea how much danger he was putting himself in. And if he knew, then he probably would have shut up. Because it was established that he was a doddery old man who barely knew what day it was. I don't think he quite realized how much he was sticking his neck out.
Nah, man, he's a hero.
What else does he do in the entire show apart from that?
He valiantly sits at the table. Well, there's the one where like he brings up the Blackwood Bracken thing after they've moved on, and that was really funny.
Yeah.
He is really boring when they're talking about taxes. His name is Lord Beesbury, so that's something.
One of the interesting things about what was like the nature of his death, because in the books there's like a bunch of different versions of what happened.
Did he freeze to death in the black cells? Did he get his throat cut by Chris? Or did he get shoved out a window?
I would have quite liked to have seen the defenestration, but
yeah, especially because then we would have seen the spikes below the keep.
True.
Which might be relevant later.
And which we never got to see in Game of Thrones.
Season 1, episode 10, Joffrey and Sansa looking at Ned's head. Are there spikes on the ground there? Or is it just Sansa thinks about pushing Joffrey onto, a landing?
I don't think we get to see spikes.
I think I'm already associating spikes with that scene because, there are heads on pikes and there's George W. Bush. Game of Thrones has always been political. 9/11.
Where is it in the episode?
Oh, you almost went straight to boobies.
That would have been dangerous.
It's here.
This is your stream. I shouldn't be quite so gung ho on.
There we go. Yeah, that.
Yeah, it's here, right? She looks down.
Yeah, there won't be any spikes.
We don't even really. Yeah. There's an
like,
archway down there.
It's a long way. That's all that matters.
It's flat. There's no spikes.
Yeah. Okay. So no, we didn't see them in Game of Thrones.
I'm sure everyone was on the edge of their seat to find out whether or not there were spikes at the bottom of Maegor's Keep. That was fun.
Yeah.
I think it's time to wrap it up.
Yep.
I think that...
Should we put him somewhere?
I think he's lightly lawful good.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's actually quite lawful. He's like moderately lawful, lightly good.
Yep, sure.
Yeah. Where's that? That's over...
It's the left and a little bit up.
It's around there. Thanks, After Effects. All right. Thank you for participating, everybody. Thanks for the super chat from Jordan, who says, please more cock-abridged. There will be some more of that soon, yes.
Ooh, nice.
And thank you, Glidus, for coming and talking about the Dragon Show.
Thank you for come at and talking about the Dragon Show.
Phrasing! Glidus.
I love my job.
It's a good job.
Yeah. It's I really like doing live streams. It's so much more comfortable with a co-host.
Yeah, you don't have to ruin your voice talking continuously for 3 hours.
And
it's a lot more chill. Perfect sonar as well.
Yeah, I'm doing great with COVID. And the thing is, like, people just love hearing us talk. It's very strange.
It is very strange. I try not to think about that too much, but I do enjoy talking about the Dragon Show.
Yeah,
and I'm glad that people enjoy it.
It's really nice that we have a lot to say that isn't so like vitriolic.
Yeah,
it's still sinking in that we live in a world where dragons show good.
That is the headline. The headline is, there is a good Game of Thrones show on TV that is faithful to the books and is good. We haven't had that since like 2013 at best. Like, I'm so glad we have that back. And
that was like 18 prime ministers ago.
Yeah. So I can't wait for what's next. I can't wait for season 2.
You're gonna have to.
Well, we are gonna have to.
2024. Hope you've got content lined up.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna be a full-time Goosebumps streamer by then.
Oh, thank God.
So.
What, you're skipping Animorphs?
Well, I will have finished Animorphs. I'll be real speedy, real relentless.
All right, nice.
Daily Animorphs. 12-hourly Animorphs episodes.
Don't lie to, like, you're gonna break some hearts.
Are you gonna play us out? Are you gonna play your piano for the next 3 hours?
Yeah, that's right. That's a classic Glimbo move, isn't it?
Classic Glimbo.
Why do I do that?
It's great. People love it.
I know it's actually so beautiful to have people stick around while I'm just tinkling away on my little fake ivories. You know, it's so wonderful that I get to do that. It's so cool.
It's lovely.
I have actual published music, by the way, if you want to listen to that.
Where can the people find that?
Oh, who the fuck knows?
I want to know. Where can I find the music?
Well, Spotify links are like all over the place. Have you ever looked at a Spotify URL?
Yeah, it's like 70 characters of hexadecimal wingding hell.
Someone's trying to summon an eldritch god, but I don't know, put links in descriptions. I think, no, there's a link on my channels page. If you go to the channels page, you can
People don't know what a channel page is.
True.
There will be links in the description. All the links will be in the description.
Oh, God, you've given me more work to do.
All right.
We're doing that thing where we're at the back door and it's like, you know, trying to leave, trying to go home, and you've thought of 16 different things you want to say.
Well, we will save it for the next stream.
Another time, yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next time.
Hope you had a lovely time.
Cheers.
Hope you fucked spiders.